Chapter 3183. Mississippi, in an elegant and quiet courtyard. The two maids quickly ran into the attic and looked at the woman in green sitting in the hall. "How is it?" the woman in green asked. "He's out," the two maids said. "He's finally out. Let's go." The woman in green got up and walked outside quickly. "Don't go. He's gone," the two maids hurriedly said. "He's gone." The woman in green was stunned. "Yes." The two maids nodded. "Why didn't you stop him?" The woman in green looked at the two of them with dissatisfaction. "With Lord here, we don't even dare to show up, let alone stop him." The two maids shook their heads helplessly. "What did he say to Grandpa?" The woman in green was suspicious. "It was too far. I didn't hear clearly." The two shook their heads. "Well, this guy must have returned to the Hall of Fame. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, I'm going back to the Hall of Fame tomorrow." The woman in green sat in front of the tea table weakly. After waiting for so many days, she actually waited in vain. However, she was more and more curious about Qin Feiyang. Why did Grandpa value this person so much? However, Qin Feiyang didn't return to the Hall of Fame. He was very confused now. He wandered aimlessly in the Kanglan Snow Mountain. The wind was cold and piercing, but he didn't feel it at all. In his mind, he had been pondering about the fifth profound of the Law of Thunder. The great elder said a lot, and he concluded that only by seeing through the origin could one get to the end. It should mean that only by seeing through the origin of the Law of Thunder could one comprehend the fifth profound. But where was the origin? This was the question he had been puzzling over. The laws of the world all came from this world, and the power of law represented the origin of the world. All living things in the world couldn't leave the origin. Wait. Origin? Could it be that the origin of the Law of Thunder was the origin? Or, was it the power of the origin? Unknowingly, it was dawn. Qin Feiyang looked at the glacier in front of him and couldn't help but be stunned. Wasn't this the place where he left the Kanglan Snow Mountain? How did he come here unknowingly? After he came back to his senses, he turned around and left. However, he suddenly stopped and pondered for a moment before he turned around and scanned the area ahead. Very soon, he saw a figure on one of the icy peaks. This person was Second Xing. Second Xing sat cross-legged on the ice peak. His entire being was like a stone statue, not moving at all. "My lord." Qin Feiyang flew up and cupped his hands in salute. Second Xing opened his eyes and was slightly stunned. Then, he got up and bowed to Qin Feiyang. "You are." Qin Feiyang was taken aback. "You are now Milord's personal disciple, and I am Milord's subordinate. I should be the one paying my respects to you." Second Xing said with a smile. No. This junior can't afford it." Qin Feiyang waved his hand repeatedly. Second Xing was a perfect dominator, a terrifying existence who had grasped 5 types of laws. Even though he was the Vice Alliance Master's disciple, he could not afford to be arrogant in front of this person. He is indeed very similar to young Master Yi Tian. Friendly and courteous. Second Xing muttered to himself. His impression of Qin Feiyang deepened once again. He asked, "Where are you going?" "I don't know either. I was just pondering some things and unknowingly came here. Since I'm here, I might as well go out for a walk." Qin Feiyang smiled. "What are you pondering that has you so engrossed in it?" Second Xing was suspicious. "It's the profound meaning of laws." Qin Feiyang smiled. "The profound meaning of laws?" Second Xing was slightly taken aback. He sized up Qin Feiyang, a hint of shock gradually creeping into his eyes. He had actually broken through to the perfect imperishable realm. No wonder he was so obsessed with the profound meaning of laws. It turned out that he wanted to break through to the half-step dominator level. The fifth profound meaning is a huge hurdle. You can't rush it. There's a saying that goes, when the conditions are right, success will follow naturally. You have to relax and not give yourself pressure. Second Xing reminded. Thank you for your advice. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. All right then, I'll send you out. Be careful, it's not Mount Kanglan outside. There's no one to protect you. Second Xing reminded him as he flew toward the barrier. I will. Qin Feiyang nodded. After opening the barrier, Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and thanked him. Then, he turned around and stepped into the air step by step. He's so talented and so hard-working. It's hard not to achieve something in the future. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, a hint of a smile flashed across Second Xing's eyes. Compared to those playboys in the Alliance capital, this kid was really much stronger. Swoosh! All of a sudden, a burly figure landed silently beside Second Xing and asked, Second brother, what are you thinking about? Big brother? Second Xing's expression froze. He looked at the person and said, why are you here? That's right. The person who came was Second Xing and Third Xing's big brother, Xingde. I've been ordered by Sir to protect Mo Yuanyuan in secret. Xingde, indeed. Second Xing nodded. All right, I'll go first. If Sir Deputy Alliance Master asks, I'll go out with Mo Yuanyuan. After Xingde gave his instructions, he turned into a black shadow and disappeared at the end of the snowy mountain. He actually got Big Brother to protect him personally. Seems like Sir really thinks highly of him. Second Xing muttered. Back to Qin Feiyang. After leaving Mount Kanglan, he continued to walk aimlessly. Noon. He entered deep into the mountains and saw a village located in the mountains. The village wasn't small. There were about a few thousand families. However, their cultivation wasn't strong. The most powerful one was only immortal. He took a look at the village and was about to leave when he suddenly noticed an old man sitting by a river fishing. Qin Feiyang had a sudden impulse and landed beside the old man. You are. The old man was in his 60s. His hair was white, but he was full of energy. He looked suspiciously at the unfamiliar young man who suddenly appeared. Old man, don't be nervous. I'm just a passerby. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly, showing a trace of kindness. The old man breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, our village is isolated from the rest of the world. It's fate that you can come here. You look a little lost. Are you struggling with something? Qin Feiyang looked at the old man in surprise. Don't look at me like that. Although I'm not as strong as you, I'm much older than you. So naturally, I've seen more things than you. The old man laughed with a hoarse voice. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded and stood beside the old man. Looking at the slowly flowing river, he asked, then, old man, in your opinion, what does thunder represent? Thunder? The old man was stunned. He pointed to the sky and asked, are you talking about the thunder that makes rain? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He nodded with a smile and said, I guess so. The old man thought for a while and said, this thing, in my opinion, should be considered as punishing evil. Punishing evil? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Isn't there a saying? You unfilial son, be careful not to be struck by lightning. Isn't this punishing evil? After the old man said that, he smiled and said, it's just my opinion. Don't take it seriously. It's okay. Actually, what you've said does make some sense in this aspect. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. What do you mean by that? It's just nonsense. Don't mind it. Why don't we sit together? I have a fishing rod here. I can lend it to you. The old man grabbed a fishing rod next to him and handed it to Qin Feiyang. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. Fishing could allow one to focus even more. When the mind was focused, the heart would be calm. When the heart was calm, some things would naturally be understood. He grabbed the fishing rod and moved a stone next to the old man. He used it as a stool and sat on it. After hanging the bait, he quietly began to fish. Although the old man and the young man didn't speak, the scene seemed very harmonious. Xing Er, who was standing on the opposite mountain peak, looked at Qin Feiyang's actions with a hint of admiration in his eyes. In this era, regardless of whether it was the older generation or the younger generation, they were all impatient. Very few people were willing to sit down and fish. Because to them, it was a complete waste of time. Time passed quickly. The sky gradually darkened. Qin Feiyang didn't catch a single fish, but he didn't feel disappointed. On the contrary, there was a smile on his face. Because he sat quietly for the whole afternoon and didn't think about anything, his heart was completely calm. The old man, on the other hand, had a good harvest. 2 big fish, both half a meter long. Young man, it's getting late. Why don't you stay in the village with me for the night? The old man put away his fishing rod and looked at Qin Feiyang. Thank you, old man. But I've already disturbed you for the whole afternoon. I don't dare to continue. I'll take my leave first. Qin Feiyang clasped his hands. All right then. We'll meet again if fate wills it. The old man smiled and didn't force him. We'll meet again if fate wills it. Qin Feiyang smiled and handed the fishing rod back to the old man. He then turned and left silently. What a strange little guy. The old man shook his head and took the fishing rod and the 2 big fish, disappearing into the night. We'll meet again if fate wills it, however. Qin Feiyang stopped at the peak of a mountain and looked at the old man's back, pondering over this sentence. This sentence was often heard and often said. In the past, he felt that this was a very common sentence. But at this moment, when he heard it, there seemed to be a different feeling. This seemed to be a kind of carefree, a kind of casual nature. Everything was up to fate. There was no need to force or hope. As expected. The more ordinary something seemed, the more likely it was to hide some truth. It was just that no one usually paid attention to it. Good luck. Qin Feiyang looked at the old man's back and smiled. He then turned and left. Although spending an afternoon with the old man didn't provide any enlightenment or help to his 5th profound, such a subtle change in his state of mind could be considered as a kind of sublimation. Another half a month passed by. On this day, he came to Cloud Sea City. The newly built Cloud Sea City was as prosperous as before. It was even more prosperous than before. Because there were many people watching the show now. The 10th elder of the Rogue Cultivators Alliance had always been unapproachable. But now, he was kneeling in the square in the center of the city. This was a scene that was hard to come by in a lifetime. Now that it was in front of him, he definitely couldn't miss this opportunity. Therefore, people from all over the eastern continent came to Cloud Sea City almost every day for sightseeing. This caused Cloud Sea City to be more lively than before. Chapter 3184. This time, he did not change his appearance and used the identity of Mo Yuan. Therefore, when he entered the city, he attracted everyone's attention. Isn't that Mo Yuan? He dares to come to the city so brazenly. Isn't he afraid of the 10th elder and Wu Sunyuan's family taking revenge? He's got guts. Everyone discussed softly. But Qin Feiyang acted as if he did not hear these discussions and walked alone on the street. Gradually, he came to the square in the center of the city. The 10th elder, Wu Sunyuan, Zhao Yunhai, and Zhao Tianyun were still kneeling on the square. One had to know that 500 years had passed since the beginning. In other words, the 4 of them had been kneeling here for 500 years. If it was a mortal, he would have knelt here long ago. However, Although the four of them had good cultivation, it was not good to kneel for 500 years. Not only were their bodies tortured, but their minds were also devastated. They had long lost their former glory. Especially the 10th elder, he was extremely dispirited, like a walking corpse. There was no color in his eyes. Qin Feiyang walked into the square. Third Xing was still supervising here. Seeing Qin Feiyang's arrival, Third Xing opened his eyes and nodded at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Qin Feiyang also smiled at Third Xing, then looked at the 10th elder and the others. Qin Feiyang's appearance had already caused a commotion, so the four of them immediately knew. However, at this moment, it was as if they were numb. After taking a glance at Qin Feiyang, they lowered their heads and looked at the ground with lifeless gazes. 500 years of torture, 500 years of devastation. If it was anyone else, they would also feel numb. Qin Feiyang looked for a while and said, "Your grandson Feng Wanjian is also dead." What? The 10th elder suddenly raised his head and stared at Qin Feiyang. Yes, I killed him. He wanted to avenge you, but unfortunately, he didn't have the strength. But don't misunderstand, I didn't use any tricks. I killed him openly in the fighting arena. Qin Feiyang said lightly. When the 10th elder heard this, he could not help but smile sadly. Now that his two grandsons were dead, he felt even more hopeless. Of course. His hatred for Qin Feiyang also grew stronger. Actually, you can't blame me. Regardless of whether it's you or those two brothers, you're all courting death. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Don't be so smug. After doing so many evil deeds, retribution will come sooner or later. The 10th elder glared at him with hatred. What I did was evil. Qin Feiyang smiled in astonishment. Had this old man not come to his senses yet? Back then, if not for Feng Wanyan being arrogant and despotic, how could they have formed a grudge? Afterwards, if Feng Wanyan hadn't bribed Zhang Sanbao and the others to kill them in the trial grounds, would this hatred have deepened? Later on, if Feng Wanyan hadn't killed Zhao Eryong, Wang Shui, and Zhao Yang in the divine prison, if the 10th elder hadn't instigated Wu Sanyuan and the Zhao family to poison them, would they have been so unscrupulous? This was cause and effect. There must be a cause and effect. All of a sudden, Qin Feiyang seemed to have a deeper understanding of the law of cause and effect. Whether it was him and Zhao Eryong, or him and Zhao Shaojin, or Feng Wanjian, Zhang Sanbao, Zhang Santian, or even him and Yi Tian, the deputy alliance leader, Li Yuandao, Li Fuyuan, Zhang Deyuan, they all had an inevitable karmic relationship. Therefore, everything in this world, all living things in the world, couldn't escape karma. For example, the food chain in this world. Ants were very weak, right? Any animal could eat them, such as frogs and lizards. However, frogs and lizards would become food for stronger animals. For example, elephants, tigers, lions, and even humans. These were all at the top of the food chain. However, when elephants, tigers, lions, and even humans died, their corpses would become food for ants and other insects. Therefore, everything in this world had to go through a cycle. That was cause and effect. Gradually, Qin Feiyang's body emitted a powerful aura. However, he was completely unaware of this and seemed to have entered a wonderful state. What's going on? Everyone was bewildered. There was no lack of dominators present. For example, Third Xing was a perfected dominator. However, at this moment, he actually felt a terrifying pressure from Qin Feiyang. Even the 10th elder felt the same. There was a trace of bewilderment in his eyes. This seemed to be an epiphany. Moreover, the aura that emerged from Qin Feiyang's body seemed to be a type of law power. I see, the fourth profound is the wheel of karma. Qin Feiyang suddenly muttered unconsciously. A translucent full moon condensed in front of him. Wheel of karma. Third Xing's gaze trembled. At the same time, eldest Xing, who was hiding in the dark, also had a face of disbelief. Could this be the fourth profound of the law of karma, the wheel of karma? He was actually hiding a type of law power, and it was the law of karma. Eldest Xing certainly knew that Qin Feiyang had mastered 6 types of law, but he never expected that this kid still had a trick up his sleeve. If this kid hadn't entered an epiphany and unconsciously exposed the law of karma, who knew how long he would have hidden it? 7 types of law. And he had already comprehended the 4th profound of the law of thunder and the law of karma. This was too heaven-defying. This kind of monster had never appeared in the sky cloud realm since ancient times. Qin Feiyang finally woke up from the state of epiphany. But when he saw the wheel of fire in front of him, there was a trace of a smile in his eyes. But then, his expression turned cold. He looked at Third Xing and the others, then looked at the people in the square on all sides. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seemed that the law of karma couldn't be hidden anymore. Mo Yuan, I really don't understand. What kind of monster are you? Third Xing came back to his senses and looked at Qin Feiyang helplessly. Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned. Others don't know, but I have long known that you revealed the power of law in the Hall of the Exalted. 7 types of law. When I saw you, I couldn't wait to kill myself. Third Xing was helpless. How could there be such a freak? Before suddenly becoming a half-step dominator, he had already mastered 7 types of law. Among them, there was even the strongest type of law, the law of karma. The saying of comparisons are odious was indeed true. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and looked at the 10th elder. I have to thank you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend the 4th profound of the law of karma so quickly. The 10th elder's face was gloomy. As a thank you gift, I'll give you a quick death. It can also be considered as completely cutting off the karma between us. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. With a clang, the sky demon spear appeared. Qin Feiyang grabbed the sky demon spear and directly pierced the 10th elder's forehead. With a scream, the 10th elder died of course. What are you doing? Third Xing was shocked. Qin Feiyang acted too quickly. He couldn't react in time to stop him. As for the 10th elder, his sea of qi had already been destroyed. Moreover, Third Xing also put on a bracelet made of soul-sealing magic stone. So even if his spirit was still there, he couldn't fight back at all. At the same time, First Xing also appeared. He rushed to Qin Feiyang's side in one step and looked at the 10th elder who was glaring angrily. His face was full of shock. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but look at First Xing too. Big brother, why are you here too? When Third Xing noticed First Xing, he couldn't help but be stunned and asked suspiciously. Big brother? Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. You're First Xing. You're spying on me. No, no, no. I'm not spying on you. I'm under orders to protect you secretly. First Xing quickly explained. Protect me? Qin Feiyang was stunned. It seemed that he was under orders from the vice leader. Why did you kill him? First Xing frowned. What's the point of keeping such a person alive? Qin Feiyang said calmly. But he. First Xing frowned. The 10th elder was indeed in the wrong, but he wasn't someone a disciple like you could kill. If you want to kill him, you have to get the vice leader or even the leader to personally give the order. For a disciple like you to make such a decision without permission, you're breaking the rules. Qin Feiyang looked at the 2 brothers and said, this matter won't implicate the 2 of you. If master blames me, I will bear the responsibility. Can you bear the responsibility? First Xing rolled his eyes at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, he was originally a person who deserved to die. I believe that master is a righteous person and won't really blame me. Alright, he's already dead anyway. First Xing sighed helplessly. He should have kept an eye on this brat at all times. However, there was nothing he could do. Previously, when this brat revealed the law of karma, it was indeed too shocking. Since the 10th elder is dead, there's no need to keep these 3 alive. Let's kill them all. First Xing looked at Third Xing and said. All right. Third Xing nodded his head. Spare us. Brother Mo, you're a magnanimous person. Please be merciful and spare us. We've already knelt here for 500 years. No matter how deep our sins are, it's time to pay them back. Wu Sanyuan and the other 2 hurriedly kowtowed and begged for mercy. Their foreheads were bleeding. Did I say I'm going to kill you? That's what First Xing said. So, I can't help you. Qin Feiyang said plainly. You can. Help me say something. They'll definitely listen to you. Brother Mo, what we did to little Jean was indeed our fault. However, we've truly repented. Please give us a chance. We promise that we'll be honest in the future. Zhao Yunhai and Zhao Yuntian begged with tears and snot. Their faces were filled with despair. However, Qin Feiyang was indifferent. Third Xing didn't show any mercy. He directly killed the 3 of them and took back the 4 bracelets made from the soul-sealing magic stone. They're finally dead. If it were up to me, they should have been killed long ago. That's right. If such people are left alive, they'll become a scourge sooner or later. The surrounding crowd sneered. Obviously, Third Xing's action was very satisfying. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, First Xing, Third Xing, you've seen it too. This is the will of the people. Therefore, Master won't blame us. Hearing this, the 2 brothers looked at the reaction of the surrounding crowd and couldn't help but smile bitterly. This kid really knew how to seize the opportunity. The people's will was undoubtedly the most important. As long as he could get the people's will, it was equivalent to getting the world. Therefore, as long as he reported the truth here to the Vice Alliance leader and the higher-ups of the Alliance, he believed that these big shots would understand. Chapter 3185. Xingde took a deep breath, looked at Qin Feiyang and Xing San, and said, Since they're all dead, let's go back. All right. Xing San nodded. I don't want to go back yet. Qin Feiyang shook his head. You don't want to go back? Xingde was stunned. Yes. Although I managed to comprehend the 4th profound of the law of cause and effect by chance, I have no clue about the 5th profound of the law of thunder. So, I want to continue walking around the eastern continent. Qin Feiyang thought to himself. This can't be rushed. Xingde said. I know. I'm not in a hurry. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. This, Xingde pondered for a while, looked at Xing San, and said, You go back and report. I'll accompany him. Okay. Xing San nodded. You don't have to accompany me. I'll be careful. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. No, this is Lord's order. I have to ensure your safety. Besides, do you think that killing the 10th elder will solve all your worries? No. The 10th elder still has a son and daughter-in-law. They used to be in the Alliance capital, but they left many years ago. They said that they wanted to go out for a walk, but they haven't returned for hundreds of thousands of years. And now, so many things have happened. When they receive the news, they'll definitely come back to make trouble for you. Xingde said softly. They haven't returned for hundreds of thousands of years. Then they might have died outside. Qin Feiyang said. When they left, their cultivation had already reached greater mastery, so it's impossible for them to die so easily. Xingde shook his head. If they're not dead, it's been 500 years since the 10th elder's accident, and everyone in the eastern continent knows about it, so it's impossible for them not to know. Qin Feiyang frowned. So, this is what we've been thinking about. Where are they? Such a big thing happened, and they didn't rush back immediately. Xingde said. So, the possibility of them dying is very high. Qin Feiyang smiled. Xingde said, no matter what, I can't let you stay outside alone. Either I accompany you, or you return to the Alliance capital. Make your choice. Do I still have a choice? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and said, all right, you can follow me if you want, as long as you don't disturb me. Don't worry. If you don't speak, I won't speak. Xing Dao. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. Xingde looked at Xing San and instructed, then you go back first and tell his lordship the details. Yes. Third Xing nodded and left with the 10th elder's corpse by activating an altar. Qin Feiyang glanced at the corpses of Wu Sanyuan and the other two before turning around to leave. But at this moment, a middle-aged man appeared above the square. There was a black-armored man by his side, and he was the vice-city governor of Ocean of Cloud City. As for the middle-aged man, Qin Feiyang was very surprised. It was actually Zhuo Tiansheng. Greetings, Lord Xing. When Zhuo Tiansheng and the black-armored man saw Xingde, they immediately landed on the square and bowed. Yes. Xingde nodded and smiled at Zhuo Tiansheng. Are you used to Ocean of Cloud City? Look at what you're saying, isn't it the same everywhere? Zhuo Tiansheng smiled flatteringly. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang looked at Xingde suspiciously. Xingde laughed and said, you don't know, but Zhuo Tiansheng was appointed as the city governor of Ocean of Cloud City more than 200 years ago. City governor of Ocean of Cloud City? Qin Feiyang was stunned. This is all thanks to the Vice Alliance leader's nurturing. Zhuo Tiansheng smiled gratefully, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, you're Mouanyuan, right? Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. In fact, Zhuo Tiansheng already knew that Mouanyuan was Qin Feiyang, but he had to pretend in front of Xingde and the black-armored man. Brother Mo's name is like thunder to my ears. Now that I've met you, you're indeed a dragon among men. Since the two of you are in Ocean of Cloud City, why don't you have a seat in my mansion? Zhuo Tiansheng said politely, then invited Qin Feiyang and the black-armored man with sincerity. This, Xingde looked at Qin Feiyang. Looking at Xingda's attitude, Zhuo Tiansheng and the black-armored man were shocked. The Vice Alliance leader's trusted aide actually had to listen to this kid's attitude. How important was this kid in the Alliance capital now? Since we don't know where to go, let's go to the city governor's mansion. Qin Feiyang smiled. Zhuo Tiansheng invited him to the city governor's mansion in front of Xingde, so he must have something to say to him. Then, please. Zhuo Tiansheng quickly led the way in front. Suddenly, he slapped his head and looked at the black-armored man. Thank you for making the trip here. Tell the Zhao family and Wu family to collect the corpse. Yes. The black-armored man nodded, then turned around and flew away. City Governor's Mansion. In the guest room. Zhuo Tiansheng invited Qin Feiyang and the black-armored man to sit down. There was a maid squatting beside the tea table, silently making tea. Zhuo Tiansheng looked at Xingde and asked with a smile, Lord Xing, you rarely come out. What mission do you have this time? If you need anything, just say the word. My mission is to protect Mouanyuan. Xingde didn't hide anything. What? Protect Qin Feiyang? Zhuo Tiansheng was shocked and couldn't help but glance at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang just smiled faintly and didn't say anything. Come, have some tea. Zhuo Tiansheng greeted. While drinking tea, he chatted with Xingde, and Qin Feiyang was ignored for a moment. He didn't mind and just quietly drank tea and pondered about the law of lightning. Lord, everything has been arranged. Not long after. The black-armored man came back and also sat together to drink tea and chat, trying to get closer to Xingde. You guys chat, I'll go out for a walk. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Zhuo Tianqing was stunned and quickly apologized, I'm sorry, I neglected Brother Amo, it's fine. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and then looked at Xingde, you don't have to follow me now, right? After all, I'm in the city lord's mansion, no one will dare to plot against me. Xingde smiled bitterly. Why did he feel that in this kid's eyes, he was always looking down on him? Qin Feiyang put down his teacup and walked out alone, strolling around the city lord's mansion. Zhuo Tianqing's eyes flickered slightly and continued to accompany Xingde. Around noon, Zhuo Tianqing finally stood up and smiled at Xingde, Lord, I'll go order my men to prepare a banquet. Accompany Lord Xingde, don't neglect him. After saying that, he instructed the black-armored man. How would I dare to neglect him? The black-armored man shook his head and smiled bitterly. Actually, he couldn't wait to be alone with Xingde, so that he could be at ease and boldly get closer to him. Hearing that, Zhuo Tianqing stood up and left with a smile. At this moment, Qin Feiyang stood under a big tree and looked at a square in front of him. That was the city lord's mansion's martial arts practice field. On the field, a young man was fighting with a dozen guards. That young man was Zhuo Xiaoxian's younger brother, Zhuo Xiaocheng. After all these years, Zhuo Xiaocheng seemed to have changed, he looked more courageous than before. His cultivation had also improved a lot. So you're here. Suddenly, Zhuo Tianqing's voice sounded from behind Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang turned around and saw Zhuo Tianqing walking over quickly, smiling, you're not accompanying Xingde. I found an excuse to leave. How is it? Is my son all right now? Zhuo Tianqing walked in front of Qin Feiyang and smiled at Zhuo Xiaocheng who was on the field. He's all right. Seems like you've put in a lot of effort to train him. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Isn't that so? When you first went to the Alliance capital, I asked Elder Yu to throw him into the deep mountains to live alone. After decades of training, he finally changed a lot. Zhuo Tianqing sighed. You should have done that long ago. Courage is all tempered. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, now, you're amazing. The city lord of Cloud Sea City and Uncle Lu Zhenyuan are on the same level. Haha, Zhuo Tianqing laughed, there was a trace of unconcealable pride on his face. But, will the deputy city lord be convinced by you? After all, your cultivation is the same as his, and he was originally the deputy city lord of Cloud Sea City. Logically speaking, he should be the one to replace you. Qin Feiyang asked. Same cultivation. Zhuo Tianqing was stunned and joked, take a good look, what's my cultivation now? Qin Feiyang was stunned and turned to look at Zhuo Tianqing. There was a trace of surprise in his eyes. Zhuo Tianqing's aura was stronger than before. I broke through more than 200 years ago. That's why the deputy city lord asked me to come to Cloud Sea City. You might not know, but the city lords of the 4 super cities have to be at the peak of the sovereign realm. Zhuo Tianqing smiled. Is that so? Qin Feiyang nodded in realization and asked, then, don't you also have a legendary grade heaven-defying divine artifact now? Yes. Wu Sanyuan's legendary grade divine artifact is in my hands. However, it was damaged by you and is now being repaired in a secret room. Zhuo Tianqing said. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but want to laugh. Back then, Wu Sanyuan relied on this legendary grade divine artifact and thought that he could blast open the Black Tortoise realm. However, the result was that the divine artifact was severely damaged. What did it mean to lose more than gain? This was what it meant to lose more than gain. What about Elder Yu? Qin Feiyang asked. He's still in Wind Sea City and succeeded my position. He's now the deputy city lord of Wind Sea City. Zhuo Tianqing smiled. All right then. Don't let others take advantage of you. Qin Feiyang smiled. Then, he said, speak. What do you want to talk about by calling me to the city lord's mansion? Zhuo Tianxing was stunned and shook his head. Nothing. I just wanted to talk to you. Don't give me that. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. Nothing can escape your eyes. Zhuo Tianxing laughed bitterly and said in a low voice, after the 10th elder knelt in Cloud Sea City, Lu Jingyuan, elder you, and I discussed it. The enmity between the two of you is definitely very deep. So, just in case, we secretly investigated the whereabouts of his son and daughter-in-law. Investigate his son and daughter-in-law. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Those three really put in a lot of effort. They've started investigating him so early. According to our investigation, the last place they appeared was in the land of Yin Devils more than 10,000 years ago. Zhuo Tianxing looked around and sent a voice transmission. Chapter 3186. The Yin Devil Land. Qin Feiyang was stunned. What kind of place was that? He had never heard of it. The Yin Devil Land is located in the southernmost part of the eastern continent. It's also the border between the eastern and southern continents. Zhuo Tianxing explained. The border between the eastern and southern continents. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He asked suspiciously, isn't the heavenly cloud ocean the border between the four continents? That's based on the distance in a straight line. The heavenly cloud ocean is located in the center of the four continents. It can be considered a border point, but the borders of the four continents are connected. Zhuo Tianxing said. So it's like that. Qin Feiyang nodded in understanding. It was easy to understand. The sky cloud realm could be likened to a circle. The heavenly cloud ocean was in the center of the circle. The four continents surrounded the heavenly cloud ocean, so the borders of the four continents were naturally connected. North, south, east, and west. The two ends of the eastern continent were connected to the southern continent and the western continent. This also explained why the Blood Halls people could so easily come to the eastern continent from the western continent. The Yin Devil Land is very big. It runs through the border between the eastern and southern continents. It's not only a forbidden area of the eastern continent, but also a forbidden area of the southern continent. In short, the people of the two continents are extremely afraid of the Yin Devil Land. According to rumors, although the Yin Devil Land is dangerous, it also hides great opportunities. That's why there are many brave people who form groups and enter the Yin Devil Land. However, there are very few people who come out alive. According to the people who came out alive, they haven't even reached the depths of the Yin Devil Land. They are only at the border, yet they frequently encounter fatal danger. Zhuo Tianxing explained with deep fear in his eyes. It's so dangerous. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. It's said that even a perfect dominator doesn't dare to stay in the Yin Devil Land for long. Zhuo Tianxing nodded. What kind of danger does the Yin Devil Land have? Qin Feiyang was extremely shocked. A perfect dominator was already a peak existence in the sky cloud realm. Each of them had heaven-defying methods. However, even experts of this level didn't dare to stay for long. What kind of monster was the Yin Devil Land hiding? I've never been to the Yin Devil Land, so I can't be sure. As for the legends of the Yin Devil Lands, they are not uncommon. Some say that there are a large number of ferocious beasts hiding inside. Some say that there are countless evil spirits that feed on living creatures. Some even say that there is a great demon king inside. However, even those who have entered the Yinma land don't know what the situation is. Zhuo Tianxing shook his head. From what you've said, wouldn't the 10th elder's son and daughter-in-law have a slim chance of survival? Qin Feiyang said. More or less. But that might not be the case. What if they're lucky? Not only did they not die, but they also obtained a heaven-defying fortune. In short, nothing is certain. It's hard to predict. Zhuo Tianxing said. Then what should I do? Why don't we take a look at the Shadow Devil land? Qin Feiyang asked. If you want to go, there's no problem. After all, you have a sovereign weapon. However, I don't think it's necessary for those two. Because they're not worth the risk. And I'm telling you this purely because I want you to be careful. Chua Tianqing smiled. Thank you. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. We're family. Why are you thanking me? As for little madman and Xiaoxian, when do they plan to get married? I'm still waiting to hold my grandson. Chua Tianqing said. This, Qin Feiyang hesitated and shook his head. I don't think senior brother Madman has such plans in the short term. Why? Chua Tianqing frowned. Senior brother Madman has always had a knot in his heart, and this knot is his background. Before he figures out his background, I don't think he has such thoughts. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then how long do we have to wait? Don't tell me it'll take tens of millions or hundreds of millions of years. My daughter can wait, but I can't. Chua Tianqing pouted. That shouldn't be. Tens of millions of years is too long for us. Qin Feiyang shook his head. It better be. Anyway, no matter what, old Lu, old you, and I must be present when they get married. Chua Tianqing said. That's for sure. Without the blessings of the three of you, their wedding won't be complete. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Chua Tianqing smiled and said, then you can tell me the details of little madman, so I can help to investigate his background. Although you're the city lord of Cloud Sea City now, you're of no help to the mystery of madman's background. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Is it that exaggerated? Chua Tianqing was stunned. Let's put it this way. The mystery of madman's background is not in the sky cloud realm. Qin Feiyang said. Not in the sky cloud realm. Chua Tianqing was surprised. Although Xue Xiaoxian knew that Qin Feiyang and the others were not from the sky cloud realm, Chua Tianqing and the others still didn't know. They all thought that Qin Feiyang and the others were natives of the sky cloud realm. Chua Tianqing was not stupid. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, he began to ponder. If the mystery of little madman's background was not in the sky cloud realm, could it be in another world? These people couldn't be from another world, could they? Qin Feiyang didn't say more and asked, has anyone in the eastern continent passed a tribulation these years? Tribulation? Chua Tianqing was stunned and shook his head. Not to mention these years, even in the ancient times, I haven't heard of anyone passing a tribulation, but it's not rare for fierce beasts to pass a tribulation. Fierce beasts passing a tribulation. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Some fierce beasts will pass a tribulation when they transform, but it's also very rare. After all, these fierce beasts will basically hide to avoid being disturbed. Chua Tianqing said. Look at my head, why am I so stupid? Qin Feiyang patted his head in annoyance. If he couldn't find the person passing the tribulation, he could look for fierce beasts. For example, the five-clawed golden dragon and the fire dragon of the Alliance capital, they were all transformed from giant pythons. That's right. Look for this kind of fierce beast. If he really couldn't find it, he could cultivate it himself. Just like the five-clawed golden dragon, it was because it merged with the body of the fire dragon ancestral dragon that it transformed into a five-clawed golden dragon. This was equivalent to cultivating it. However, if he wanted to comprehend the fifth profound from the tribulation, he was afraid that the tribulation would be more terrifying than the fire dragon of the Alliance capital. In other words, this fierce beast's cultivation had to be at the level of a great or even a perfect ruler. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyang looked at Chua Tianqing and said, Uncle, then help me keep an eye out. If there are any fierce beasts passing a tribulation, inform me in advance. Okay. Chua Tianqing nodded and said, but you'd better not have too much hope. That seems to be the case. With your strength alone, it's probably difficult to find such a fierce beast. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said with a smile, "How about this, I'll go back and ask Master for help." "Master?" Chua Tiansheng was stunned. "Yes. The deputy leader is now my master." Qin Feiyang nodded. "No way." Chua Tiansheng was shocked. "Can I lie to you? It's just that this matter hasn't been made public." Qin Feiyang smiled. "No wonder the chief of the criminal court personally protected you. So it's because of this. Kid, you're quite capable. You actually became the deputy leader's disciple. In the future, please take care of me." Chua Tiansheng exclaimed and then laughed. Speaking of taking care, Qin Feiyang could really take care of him now. Because in terms of identity and status, Qin Feiyang's status was much higher than Chua Tiansheng's. However, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but smile bitterly at Chua Tiansheng's words. It was obvious that he was teasing him. "I'm not joking with you. I'm serious. Can you take Cheng to the Hall of the Exalted?" Chua Tiansheng stopped smiling and looked at Qin Feiyang seriously. "Him?" Qin Feiyang looked at Chua Xiaocheng on the martial arts practice field and shook his head. "I'm afraid that won't work. The Hall of the Exalted has rules. One must comprehend a type of law and reach the perfected immortal realm. Then the gap is really too big." Chua Tiansheng shook his head in disappointment. Chua Xiaocheng's current cultivation was only at the perfected war god realm. He was still thousands of miles away from the perfected immortal realm. "Why do you want him to go to the Hall of the Exalted?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "I want him to see the world. Besides, the resources in the Hall of the Exalted are better than outside. Moreover, he has the opportunity to meet more geniuses. This way, he will realize how weak he is." Chua Tiansheng laughed. "If that's the case, then there's no need to go to the Hall of the Exalted. There are many geniuses in the Hall of the Exalted. I'm not being narcissistic, but none of them can compare to me and Senior Crazy. As for the resources, that's even worse. The Hall of the Exalted's time array is only 500 years per day." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "That's right. The time array of your space divine item is 1,000 years per day. How could I forget about this? With the time array, why would I go to the Hall of the Exalted?" Chua Tiansheng patted his head and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. "What do you think of Cheng? It's a small matter. Just say the word. It's just that you know who I am. I'm just worried that if he blabbers too much and tells other people about me, then it won't just be me. You, Uncle Lu, and Elder Yu will all be in big trouble." Qin Feiyang was a little worried. "Don't worry about that. I've taken his transmission stone. Without it, who can he send a message to? As for the future, when he comes out of your space divine item, I'll naturally warn him." Chua Tiansheng said. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and nodded. "Okay, call him over." Chua Tiansheng was delighted. He looked at Chua Xiaocheng and said, "Cheng, stop. Come over here. The others can leave first." "Okay." Chua Xiaocheng and the group of guards stopped. Chua Xiaocheng looked at the guards, wiped the sweat on his forehead, and smiled gratefully. "Thank you for your hard work. It's not hard at all. It's our honor to be your training partner." The group of guards waved their hands. Chua Xiaocheng smiled embarrassedly and said, "Then you go and rest first. We'll practice another day." "Okay." The group of guards nodded and then turned to leave. Chua Xiaocheng also tidied up his clothes and ran towards Qin Feiyang and Chua Tiansheng. Chapter 3187. "Father, who is this?" Chua Xiaocheng ran over and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "Don't ask anything, don't say anything, listen to him in the future." Chua Tiansheng said. "Listen to him?" Chua Xiaocheng was stunned. Yes, no matter what he says, you have to listen unconditionally. Don't ask why, it's good for you to oppose. Zhuo Tianqing nodded. Okay. Zhuo Xiaocheng responded and looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. What was so good about this person? Why did his father value him so much? Look, when should we bring him in? Zhuo Tianqing looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. Now, I'll let senior brother Madman take him to cultivate. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Zhuo Tianqing was stunned and smiled. That's fine. With Zhuo Xiaoxian's relationship, Madman, as his brother-in-law, would definitely teach Zhuo Xiaocheng wholeheartedly. Madman? Zhuo Xiaocheng heard this and looked at Qin Feiyang and Zhuo Tianqing in shock. But neither of them explained. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Zhuo Xiaocheng to Madman's cultivation room. Madman, who was in seclusion, was slightly stunned when he saw Zhuo Xiaocheng suddenly appear. Then he said angrily, "Old Qin, why did you bring him in? Follow you, and let him cultivate." Qin Feiyang's voice sounded in his mind. Let me cultivate with him. Isn't that bringing trouble? I won't do it. Madman refused as expected. This is your father-in-law's idea. Qin Feiyang directly brought up Zhuo Tianqing. Ah. Madman was stunned, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He looked at Zhuo Xiaocheng and said, "Do you still remember me? Have we met?" Back in the Tianyue building in Winxi City, both Qin Feiyang and Madman had changed their faces, so he was a little confused. However, he really knew Madman's face. Because whether it was Winxi City or Cloud Sea City, there were legends about this person. Moreover, he also knew that his sister had run off with this person. Of course I have. But that's not important. What's important is, have you made up your mind? Madman snickered. Looking at the smile on Madman's face, Zhuo Xiaocheng couldn't help but panic. Look at you. You turned into a bird after being scared a little. Go and see your sister first. Don't cause trouble outside. 6th Courtyard. Madman waved his hand and the stone door of the cultivation room opened. Zhuo Xiaocheng ran out as if he was running for his life. When he saw the devil's land outside, he was stunned. What is this place? Outside. Qin Feiyang took out a voice-transmitting divine stone and established a contract with Zhuo Tianqing. After all, it was inconvenient for him to communicate with Zhuo Xiaoxian all the time. Zhuo Tianqing then left, instructing people to prepare a banquet. Qin Feiyang returned to the reception hall. The black-armored man was also extremely respectful to Qin Feiyang. Although he didn't know about Qin Feiyang's situation, he knew that Qin Feiyang was someone he couldn't afford to offend. After having dinner at noon, Qin Feiyang brought Dexing back to the Alliance capital. Didn't you say that you wanted to take a walk outside? Dexing was very puzzled. I thought of a way to comprehend the fifth profound, so I want to go back and look for my master. Qin Feiyang didn't hide it. What is it? Dexing was curious. You will know when you see my master. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Under Dexing's lead, they soon returned to the Alliance capital and looked for the vice leader. Qin Feiyang immediately told the vice leader his idea. Hearing this, the vice leader pondered for a while and asked, "Will this idea work?" "It will definitely work." Great Elder also said that this is a shortcut. Qin Feiyang nodded. That's fine. The vice leader nodded, then looked at Dexing and ordered, immediately give the order to the city lord's mansion in all the major cities to look for beasts that have a chance to pass the tribulation. Yes. Dexing responded respectfully. After you find them, bring them all to the Alliance capital. The vice leader said again. Okay. Dexing nodded and turned to leave. The vice leader suddenly asked, Yuan, have you heard of two people when you went out this time? Who? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, the vice leader smiled. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he nodded and said, yes, when I went back to the Zhao family's ancestral land with Zhao Xiaojin last time, I have already seen them. You have seen them? The vice leader was stunned. Yes. At that time, they appeared and stole all the crystal veins and soul veins of the Zhao family. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said, Master, there is something that I don't know if I should say. Speak. The vice leader said. Qin Feiyang said, from the situation at that time, Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo shouldn't be bad people, but why did you kill them back then? It's a long story. Back then, they killed a person named Wang Hui in Tianfeng City. This Wang Hui was the city lord of Tianfeng City, and also a member of our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. At that time, I was very angry that someone dared to challenge the dignity of our Rogue Cultivator Alliance, so in order to protect the status of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, I ordered them to be killed. But now that I think about it, I was also confused. This matter was Wang Hui's fault in the first place. Wang Hui was the one who ruined the reputation of our Rogue Cultivator Alliance, and Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo were not in the wrong. So later, when I thought about it carefully, I suddenly came to a realization and prepared to reconcile with them. But I didn't expect the 10th Elder and Wu Sanyuan to cause such trouble. It seems that there is no chance of reconciliation, because now, they have probably entered the Demon Palace. The vice leader shook his head. That's impossible. If they entered the Demon Palace, why didn't there be any news at all? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. These two have sovereign divine weapons. If they really went to the Demon Palace, do you think those people in the Demon Palace would spread the news? They would definitely protect them carefully. The vice leader said. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. So, I have been blaming myself for this matter. Originally, they could have joined our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The vice leader shook his head and sighed. Speaking of this, the vice leader was slightly stunned. He didn't send Qin Feiyang away and directly took out the voice transmission stone. Buzz. Very soon. An illusory figure appeared. Qin Feiyang looked up and his pupils constricted slightly. This illusory figure was Lu Jingyuan. Greetings, Vice Leader. Lu Jingyuan bowed. Yes. Previously, I asked you and Zhuo Tianqing to contact Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo through Zhuo Xiaoxian. Did you manage to contact them? The Vice Leader asked. I'm sorry. We didn't do a good job and didn't manage to contact them. Lu Jingyuan shook his head. Why? The Vice Leader frowned. Because when we were communicating, we found out that Xiaoxian had taken the initiative to erase our contract bridge. Lu Jingyuan sighed. This, the Vice Leader was stunned. Lu Jingyuan said, I think Xiaoxian was afraid that we would look for her, so she erased the contract bridge. Now, we really don't know where they are hiding. Then this is really difficult. Alright, keep an eye on the Devil's Palace and see if Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo have secretly entered the Devil's Palace. The Vice Leader instructed. Okay. Lu Jingyuan nodded respectfully. The Vice Leader waved his hand and put away the voice transmission stone. Master, who is this Zhuo Xiaoxian? Qin Feiyang looked at the Vice Leader suspiciously. She is Zhuo Tianqing's daughter. Back then, she was the one who escaped with Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo. I heard that this girl likes Madman Mo. I wanted to contact Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo through her, but now there is no hope. It's really like the old saying, one wrong step and the whole game is lost. The Vice Leader shook his head and sighed. You don't have to be so sad. As long as we show sincerity, I believe that Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo will forgive us sooner or later. Qin Feiyang comforted. I hope so. You go back to the Hall of the Exalted first. Don't be in a hurry to learn the fifth profound. You can also take the opportunity to stabilize yourself and prepare for a breakthrough in the future. The vice leader reminded. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and cupped his hands. I will take my leave now. After that, he left the attic and closed the door. Just as the door closed, he couldn't help but frown slightly. Had he really guessed wrongly? The vice leader didn't collude with the blood hall. Or was this vice leader too shrewd and had been acting in front of him all along? On the way back to the Hall of the Exalted, Qin Feiyang suddenly stopped. Now that his cultivation had reached the peak of the undead realm, and his laws were stuck at the fifth profound, he had nothing to do now. Why not keep an eye on the vice leader? If the vice leader really colluded with the people of the Blood Hall, there must be a connection. Maybe he could catch him at any time. Thinking of this, he immediately entered the Black Tortoise realm and stealthily sneaked into the vice leader's courtyard. When he entered the attic through a half-closed window, he immediately saw the vice leader sitting alone in the living room with his eyes closed. He didn't know what the vice leader was thinking. The whole living room was dead silent. Time passed breath by breath. About an hour later, the vice leader suddenly waved his hand and set up a boundary. Then, he took out the divine voice-transmitting stone. So careful. Qin Feiyang looked at the boundary around him, and a touch of surprise flashed in his eyes. Then, he stared at the vice leader, who was now inside the boundary. Buzz. About a few seconds later, a black figure abruptly appeared. It was a man in a black robe who was wrapped tightly. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang immediately took out the divine voice-transmitting stone. What's wrong? Any good news? The black-robed man spoke with a gloomy voice. No. I need your help now. The vice leader said in a deep voice. Didn't you say you have a way? The black-robed man sneered. Cut the crap. I need you to help me check if Qin Feiyang and Madman Mo have secretly entered the demonic palace. The vice leader said. Isn't this a simple thing? Can't your rogue cultivator alliance do it? The black-robed man said with a hint of mockery. Are you deliberately provoking me? The vice leader's eyes darkened. So what if I provoke you? The plan last time was so perfect, but it was because your grandson Yi Tian activated the law of time and space to escape with them. Otherwise, how could this happen? The black-robed man snorted. This brat's ability really couldn't be underestimated. Not only did he successfully infiltrate the Alliance capital, he even managed to take down an elder. As for Qin Feiyang's identity, it was very easy to determine. Because Qin Feiyang hadn't changed his appearance when he established the contract bridge with Elder Hua. So, the information he left in Elder Hua's divine message stone was his own. Yet now, Qin Feiyang used Mo Yuanqing's face to send a message to Elder Hua. Coupled with the information in the divine message stone, Elder Hua would naturally know that Mo Yuanqing was Qin Feiyang. Elder Hua smiled and asked, Is there any good news for you to send me a message? There is indeed good news, but there is also quite a bit of bad news. Qin Feiyang said. Elder Hua's pupils constricted, Tell me the good news first. The good news is that the Vice Alliance leader is indeed colluding with the Blood Hall. I saw it with my own eyes just now, and I even recorded their conversation. Qin Feiyang said. That damnable old bastard. Elder Hua's gaze turned cold as he asked, What about the bad news? I'm afraid you won't be able to accept this bad news. Qin Feiyang looked at him with a mocking gaze. What kind of joke is this? What kind of situation have I not seen before? Just say it. Elder Hua said. Then you're pretty good. One of your Devil Palace's elders is a spy from the Blood Hall. Qin Feiyang smiled. What? Elder Hua's eyes suddenly widened. How is it? Do you feel like you've been struck by lightning? Qin Feiyang looked at him with a mocking gaze. Don't gloat over my misfortune. Are you mistaken? Could it be just a deacon elder? Elder Hua glared at Qin Feiyang and asked. I heard it with my own ears. How can I be mistaken? If you're beside me now, I can show you the recording. However, your Devil Palace does have a deacon elder who is a spy from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. My Devil Palace has a spy from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Elder Hua was stunned. He shook his head and said, It seems like I've underestimated the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Did they say which elder it is? They didn't say. However, there shouldn't be many elders in the Devil Palace. With your ability, it shouldn't be difficult for you to find out. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Phew. Elder Hua let out a long breath and said with a smile, How do you want me to thank you for finding out such important information? That's easy. I don't want the Dominator Divine Weapon. Just give me 180 Supreme Divine Weapons. Qin Feiyang smiled. Get lost. Elder Hua's face darkened. See? You're falling out with me and you still want to thank me? There's no hope. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Why don't you give me 180 Supreme Divine Weapons? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue? Elder Hua rolled his eyes. Fine, fine, fine. Pretend I didn't say anything. However, there's something that you have to arrange. Right now, the Vice Alliance leader and the others are guessing that senior brother Feng Zi and I have secretly entered the Devil Palace. Hence, you have to cooperate. Qin Feiyang said. How should I cooperate? Elder Hua was doubtful. You just have to accept that senior brother Feng Zi and I have indeed secretly entered the Devil Palace. This way, I'll be absolutely safe in the Alliance capital. Qin Feiyang smiled. Since you've already obtained the evidence, why are you still staying in the Alliance capital? Elder Hua frowned. I want to know if there's anyone else in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance who colluded with the Blood Hall. After all, this isn't a small matter. Since I've already snuck in, I might as well investigate thoroughly. Qin Feiyang said. All right then. Be careful. If there's any danger, send me a message for help immediately. Elder Hua reminded. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. What's that? After the matter with the Rogue Cultivator Alliance is over, you should consider coming to our Devil Palace. This old man guarantees that you and Madman Mo's freedom will not be restricted. Elder Hua said with a smile. He now admired Qin Feiyang more and more. Just think about it, which young man in the Eastern continent could do this? Not only did he gain the trust of the Vice Alliance leader, but he also obtained such important information. Hence, he couldn't wait to drag Qin Feiyang into the Devil Palace right now and train him well. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and turned off the voice transmission stone. Next, he didn't leave. The barrier didn't disperse and he couldn't leave either. He continued to monitor the Vice Alliance leader. Very soon, half a month passed. Late at night, the Vice Alliance leader finally received a message from the black-robed man. How is it? The Vice Alliance leader asked. According to reliable sources, these two have really secretly entered the Devil Palace. The black-robed man said in a deep voice. What? The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. The black-robed man said, also, it is said that they stayed by Elder Hua's side. Elder Hua is personally teaching them. Our people can't get close at all. What should we do now? The Vice Alliance leader frowned. We can only consider this matter in the long run. The black-robed man shook his head helplessly. Then, he looked at the Vice Alliance leader and said, how about this, I'll go back and discuss with the palace leader and see what he thinks. All right. The Vice Alliance leader nodded. The black-robed man's shadow disappeared. The Vice Alliance leader put away the voice transmission stone. He lowered his head and looked annoyed. Lord! Suddenly, Xing Da's voice sounded outside. The barrier set up by the Vice Alliance leader was soundproof. However, the sound could be clearly heard. When the Vice Alliance leader heard Xing Da's voice, he couldn't help but be stunned. Then, he calmed himself down and removed the soundproof barrier. He walked out slowly and saw Xing Da standing outside respectfully. Behind Xing Da were no less than 1,000 beasts. Most of these beasts were giant pythons. The rest were fire swans, flaming lions, and other beasts. Their cultivation was at least at the Greater Mastery Dominator realm. Among them, there was a black giant python and a fire swan. They were at the Greater Mastery Dominator realm. Not bad. Qin Feiyang muttered. In just half a month, they had found so many beasts. My lord, it is possible for them to transform. Xing Da pointed at the beasts and said. The Vice Alliance leader looked at them one by one. When he saw the black giant python and the Greater Mastery Dominator realm fire swan, his eyes couldn't help but shrink. Even he couldn't help but be wary of Greater Mastery Dominator realm beasts. You're the Vice Alliance leader of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. I heard from Xing Da that you have a way to transform us. That's why we came to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. If you dare to lie to us, don't blame me for being impolite. The black giant python stared coldly at the Vice Alliance leader. As a Greater Mastery Dominator realm beast, it wasn't afraid of the Vice Alliance leader at all. That was because the Vice Alliance leader was only at the Greater Mastery Dominator realm. I have a way. The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. He couldn't help but look at Xing Da suspiciously. These beasts are all arrogant and unruly. If I didn't say that, they wouldn't have come to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance willingly. Xing Da transmitted his voice and smiled bitterly. Since you've tricked them here, what should we do now to help them transform? If these beasts go berserk, even if we kill them, they'll bring a lot of trouble to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The Vice Alliance leader raised his eyebrows. I didn't think too much about it. Why don't we appease them first? Or we can ask the fire dragon to come here. Didn't it transform successfully? Perhaps it can help. Xing Da thought to himself. That's the only way. The Vice Alliance leader replied. He looked at the beasts and smiled. Everyone, don't be impatient. We have to take our time. Follow Xing Da to the Hall of the Exalted first. All right, I'll believe you this time. The black giant python spoke. Chapter 3189. Black Tortoise Realm. Looking at Xing Da leaving with a group of beasts, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but look at the Deputy Alliance leader. There was a way to make these beasts transform. This was too big of a bluff. Seeing the Deputy Alliance leader and Xing Da flirting, he knew that this was just Xing Da's stopgap measure. However, the Deputy Alliance leader and Xing Da had no way, but he had a way to make one or two beasts transform. Of course. The confidence wasn't too high. But now wasn't the time to think about this, he had to rush back to the Hall of the Exalted. Immediately. He controlled the Black Tortoise realm and left silently. After leaving the Alliance capital, he came out of the Black Tortoise realm and flew towards the Hall of the Exalted. And his speed was naturally not as fast as Xing Da and a group of beasts. What's the situation? Why did he suddenly bring so many beasts? And there are two perfect Dominator realm beast kings. When Qin Feiyang arrived at the Hall of the Exalted was already in an uproar. And a group of beasts were arranged in a mountain range not far from the heavenly peak. The commotion was too big. Even Zhao Xiaojin and Yi Tian were awakened. The two were also standing at the peak of the heavenly peak, looking at the beasts from afar, their eyes were filled with suspicion. What's going on? Suddenly, a woman in green landed beside the two and asked with a face full of surprise. That's right. This woman was the Great Elder's granddaughter. Dandan. Yi Tian heard this voice and turned to look at the woman in green. His expression couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Zhao Xiaojin was the same. Looking at your expressions, it seems like you don't welcome me back. The woman in green looked at the two with dissatisfaction. No, no. Zhao Xiaojin quickly waved his hand and said with a smile, Sister Dandan, when did you come back? Why didn't you tell us in advance? We could have gone to welcome you. As for Yi Tian, a smile appeared on his face. I've only been back for a few days. What's going on with these beasts? The woman in green was suspicious. Yi Tian shook his head and said, we don't know either. Xingde brought them here. Originally, I wanted to ask him, but he arranged these beasts. Then I asked Mo and left. Mo. The woman was stunned and hurriedly asked, this guy, where is he now? What happened? Yi Tian looked at her in confusion. Nothing much. I just hate him. The woman in green snorted coldly. If you hate me, why did you come to Heavenly Peak? At this moment, a faint laugh rang out. The three of them turned around and saw Qin Feiyang streaking across the sky like a bolt of lightning, landing on the mountain peak. Where have you been these days? The Criminal Investigation Unit was looking for you just now, but they didn't say anything. Zhao Xiaojin looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Qin Feiyang glanced at the green-clothed woman and smiled at Zhao Xiaojin. She went out for a stroll. You still have the mood to stroll around? Geniuses are indeed different. They are not on the same level as us. Yi Tian chuckled. Big brother Yi, you must be making fun of me. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly and looked up at those fierce beasts. Do you think I don't exist? The woman in green raised her eyebrows and didn't even greet him. How dare I? I'm just an unknown kid. How can I afford to offend the granddaughter of the great elder? Qin Feiyang smiled without looking back. Unknown. The green-clothed woman stared at him angrily. What's wrong? Have I really offended you before? Qin Feiyang turned around and looked at her suspiciously. If I hadn't returned to the Hall of the Exalted, I wouldn't have known that you have mastered 6 types of law powers. No, it's 7. Why didn't you say so when I challenged you? Are you looking down on me? The green-clothed woman was annoyed. Originally, she looked down on Qin Feiyang, but she didn't expect that when she returned to the Hall of the Exalted, she was shocked. She finally understood why her grandfather was so polite to this person. I'm a low-key person. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. TSK. The green-clothed woman showed a look of disdain. Yi Tian quickly interrupted the two and looked at them. Wait a minute. What 7 types of law? Isn't it 6? Big brother Yi, you still don't know. This kid has actually mastered 7 types of law powers. The green-clothed woman said. What? Yi Tian looked at Qin Feiyang with surprise and bewilderment. Zhao Xiaojin was the same. Just some time ago, I received news that when he killed the 10th elder in Ocean of Cloud City, he directly comprehended the 4th profundity of a type of law powers. Moreover, you'll never be able to guess what law it is. The green-clothed woman said. What law? Both of them were surprised and bewildered. They were in closed-door cultivation, so they didn't know what happened in Ocean of Cloud City. The law of karma. The green-clothed woman said. What? The law of karma. Yi Tian immediately stared at Qin Feiyang. Is there such a thing as the law of karma in this world? Zhao Xiaojin had a puzzled expression. Yes. It's a type of law that's comparable to the laws of space, time, and life. Brother Mo, I notice that you're really getting more and more dishonest. Not only did you hide it from others, but you even hid it from me and Xiaojin. Do you even treat us as friends? Yi Tian glared angrily at Qin Feiyang. Cough. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and smiled with embarrassment. I was just afraid of hurting both of you. I was hurt a long time ago, so I don't mind being hurt one more time. Yi Tian rolled his eyes at him. Big brother Yi Tian, Xiao Jin, it looks to me like he doesn't treat both of you as friends at all. The green-clothed woman puckered her lips. Woman, is it fun to sow discord between us? Qin Feiyang's brows raised. It's just a fact. The green-clothed woman grunted, and then she gazed at Yi Tian and said, Big brother Yi Tian, I want to stay on Heaven Peak as well. Why are you here? Yi Tian was stunned. Since both of them can stay here, why can't I? The green-clothed woman pointed at Qin Feiyang and Zhao Xiaojin, looking unconvinced. Yi Tian smiled bitterly and nodded, all right, you can move here at any time. You can be Xiaojin's companion. That's more like it. The green-clothed woman smiled in satisfaction, took Zhao Xiaojin's hand, and said with a smile, Xiaojin, let's go and help me tidy up. We'll stay in the same cave residence in the future. Sure. Zhao Xiaojin nodded happily. It seemed that their relationship was indeed good. Whoosh. But at this moment, Xingde came again. What are you doing running around? Yi Tian looked at him suspiciously. Sigh. Xingde sighed, looked at Qin Feiyang, and asked, where did you go? Didn't you say that you weren't around? What else can I do? Wandering around, looking for an opportunity to break through. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Didn't I tell you? Don't worry. Look at these beasts, are you satisfied with them? Xingde pointed at the beasts in the mountains not far away. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. In order to get them to follow me to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, I spent a lot of effort. But now there's a problem. Xingde frowned. What problem? Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously. Of course, he knew what the problem was, but he definitely wouldn't say it out loud. Otherwise, Xingde would know that he was monitoring the Deputy Alliance leader. I tricked them here. Xingde immediately explained the situation briefly, and then said, originally, Sir wanted to ask the fire dragon to help, but when I went to look for it just now, it ran away. I don't know where it is now. Ran away. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Anyway, this guy can't stay idle for a day. Let's not talk about it. Do you have any ideas? Xingde shook his head, looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. Even master and you can't do anything, what can I do? Qin Feiyang shook his head, looked at the beasts, and said, but I can give it a try. When the fire dragon transformed, I saw the entire process with my own eyes. But give me some time. Alright, you can think about it yourself. Try to pacify them first. Xingde laughed and couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Since Qin Feiyang took on this problem, it had nothing to do with him. Anyway, he was only responsible for finding these beasts and bringing them to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. I know. Thank you for your hard work. I'll treat you to a drink next time. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Alright, I'll leave you to it. Xingde nodded with a smile, and then disappeared without a trace. Brother Mo, what's going on? Did you ask Xingde to find these beasts? And that master you mentioned just now, don't tell me you've already agreed to be my grandfather's disciple. Yi Tian looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Yes. I've agreed, so according to seniority, you have to call me uncle. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Yi Tian's face darkened. Zhao Xiaojin and the lady in green looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. They really didn't know about this. Because no one in the Hall of the Exalted mentioned that this person had already become the Vice Alliance leader's disciple. The Vice Alliance leader's disciple was like a carp leaping through the dragon gate, soaring through the heavens. Then why did you ask Xingde to find these beasts? Zhao Xiaojin was suspicious. Let's keep them in suspense first. Qin Feiyang smiled mysteriously and flew towards the mountain range. He's so mysterious. He must be up to no good. Xiao Jin, ignore him. Come, accompany me to pack up. The green-clothed woman pulled Zhao Xiaojin and flew towards another huge mountain. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, Zhao Xiaojin's eyes were full of suspicion. She knew Qin Feiyang's true identity. Now that he not only showed his terrifying talent, but also became the Vice Alliance leader's disciple, wouldn't it be easier to find out the relationship between the Vice Alliance leader and the Blood Hall? In fact, she didn't know that Qin Feiyang had already found out. Yi Tian looked at Qin Feiyang and pondered for a while. Although he was curious, he didn't join in the fun and returned to the cave alone. Soon, Qin Feiyang landed above the mountain range. A group of beasts seemed to be curious about the Hall of the Exalted, looking here and there. What are you looking at? This is our territory now. Get out of here. The black python and fire wand noticed Qin Feiyang in the sky and immediately shouted coldly. Are you trying to take over the nest? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Not only did he not leave, but he also landed in front of the two beasts. You still dare to come down? The two beasts looked at each other, and a fierce light flashed in their eyes. The other ferocious beasts also slowly gathered around and stared at Qin Feiyang with malicious intent. Chapter 3190. If it were anyone else, they would have wet their pants in the face of thousands of beasts, with the weakest being a greater dominator. However, Qin Feiyang's expression didn't change. You're quite brave. The black python looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Not bad, not bad. Qin Feiyang smiled. Don't be so arrogant. Do you really think I won't kill you? Even if I kill you now, your vice leader won't dare to do anything to me. The black python's eyes turned cold. Perhaps. However, if you really kill me, it'll be your loss. Qin Feiyang faintly smiled. My loss? The black python was stunned for a moment before it laughed. Are you stupid? You don't even have the slightest relationship with this emperor. What loss will this emperor suffer if you die? The other beasts also laughed at it. You're the stupid one. Qin Feiyang laughed. You bastard. You actually dare to insult me? The black python raised its huge tail and swung it at Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang still stood there calmly and said indifferently, Why did you come to the Rogue Cultivator Alliance this time? The black python was stunned. Its huge tail stopped above Qin Feiyang's head as it stared at Qin Feiyang in surprise. It's not an easy task to transform. Qin Feiyang smiled. The black python and the fire wand looked at each other. The python retracted its tail and stared at Qin Feiyang. You mean you're confident? No, I'm not, Qin Feiyang shook his head. Are you messing with me? The black python flew into a rage again, and its huge tail directly smashed towards Qin Feiyang. However, the fire wand waved its claws and swatted the black python's tail away. Can you not be so irritable? He's not done yet. Since he said he's not confident, why should we listen to his nonsense? Besides, look at his cultivation. He's only at the great perfection imperishable stage. He's even weaker than an ant. What tricks could he possibly have? The black python's eyes were filled with disdain. You can't judge a book by its cover. Haven't you heard that? The fire wand glared at it, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Go on. Although I'm not confident, at least there's a chance, especially for you. Qin Feiyang looked at the black python and said with a smile, If nothing unexpected happens, I think I should be able to help you transform into a black dragon. Really? The black python's eyes sparkled. Whether it's true or not, we'll only know after we try. Qin Feiyang said. All right. I'll keep you alive for now. If you can really help me transform into a divine dragon, I'll agree to 3 of your requests unconditionally. But if you fail in the end, TSK, then don't blame me for being impolite and eating you alive. The black python laughed sinisterly. Is there anyone as unreasonable as you? If you succeed, you'll agree to 3 of my requests. If you fail, you'll eat me alive. What if I don't help you? You won't have a chance. Do you understand? So you should be thanking me. Qin Feiyang snorted coldly. If you really succeed, I'll thank you properly. The black python laughed. Well, I'll also make a deal. Qin Feiyang said. Say it. As long as you don't ask me to die, I'll consider it. The black python said. If I can help you transform into a divine dragon, then you'll stay by my side. Qin Feiyang said. Stay by your side. Are you worthy? The black python looked at Qin Feiyang and couldn't help but laugh proudly. So there's no room for negotiation. Okay, goodbye. Qin Feiyang said and turned to leave. He really didn't believe that these beasts would dare to kill in the Hall of the Exalted. Sure enough. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was about to leave, the huge black python's expression turned slightly flustered. It hurriedly said, Wait a moment, we can still talk. How can you, human, be like this? You turn hostile at the slightest disagreement. You're still blaming me? Qin Feiyang looked at it speechlessly. The black python pondered for a while, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I can stay by your side, but there must be a time limit. You can't make me follow you for a lifetime. Time limit, Qin Feiyang thought for a while and nodded, okay, 10 billion years. Go to hell, at most 10,000 years. The black python's veins were bulging. 10 billion years. What was the difference between that and forever? That's too little. How about this, I'll take a step back. 9 billion years. Qin Feiyang said. You really want me to be your fighter for a lifetime? No, 20,000 years. The black python shook its head. Huoluan looked at Qin Feiyang and the black python who were bargaining and couldn't help but roll its eyes, saying, Can't you be more straightforward? Let's take a big step back. 100 million years. What does this have to do with you? The black python glared at Huoluan angrily. I find you long-winded. If you don't want to, then I'll do it. After Huoluan finished, it looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, What's your name? Mo Yuan. Qin Feiyang said. Huoluan said, If you can make me transform into a fire phoenix, I promise to protect you for 100 million years. Straightforward. Qin Feiyang smiled. Bastard, how dare you steal my business? That's too unreasonable. Seeing this, the black python glared at Huoluan angrily, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Okay, 100 million years it is. It's a deal. By the way, this 100 million years does not include the time array. We have to calculate it according to the normal time. Qin Feiyang added. If they were to calculate according to the time array, then 100 million years would be too meaningless. It would pass in the blink of an eye. Of course. The black python nodded. Qin Feiyang smiled. 100 million years was a problem that he didn't even dare to think about. It was too long. And if he really waited for 100 million years, he wouldn't need this black python anymore. However, in the eyes of the black python, 100 million years was just a blink of an eye. Therefore, in its opinion, if it could really transform into a divine dragon, it would be a bargain, so it also smiled. Then I'll take you to a place. After saying that, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and disappeared without a trace with the black python. What about us? Don't you care about us? The other beasts couldn't help but look at Huoluan. What's the hurry? If he really has a way to transform Old Black into a divine dragon, then he definitely has a way to transform us too. So don't worry, let's wait and see. Huo Wan said. All right. The other beasts nodded. This guy is getting more and more perverted. Yeah, I can't help but feel my scalp tingle just by looking at these beasts, but this guy actually ran over to get close to them. Seeing this scene, the disciples of the Hall of the Exalted couldn't help but shake their heads. What kind of freak was this? However, they were too far away, so they couldn't clearly hear what Qin Feiyang said to the beasts. Black Tortoise World. Western Region. Qin Feiyang naturally couldn't bring the black python directly to the Devil's Land. There was nothing in the Western region except for the endless Blood Sea, so there was no need to worry about being exposed. Where is this? The black python glanced at the Blood Sea, its eyes full of shock. How could there be so much blood? Could it be that this person had evil intentions? Look at you, you're a great perfection level dominator. I'm just a great perfection level undead. What can I do to you? Qin Feiyang saw through its thoughts and couldn't help but roll his eyes. That's true. The black python was stunned for a moment, then nodded with a proud smile and asked, what kind of solution do you have? I'm telling you, don't play any tricks. Just stay here and don't run around. Qin Feiyang said and closed his eyes. Whoosh! The next moment, two middle-aged men appeared in front of him. It was Pai Lupi and Theta Wang. The two were about to bow, but Qin Feiyang quickly gestured for them to keep quiet while glancing at the black python. Pai Lupi and Theta Wang glanced at the black python, and their pupils shrank slightly. They also understood Qin Feiyang's meaning. He was telling them not to mention the word dominator. Follow me. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. Then, he brought Li Er and the other two and walked far away. What's going on? The black python looked at the three of them suspiciously. Qin Feiyang glanced at the black python, then looked at Pai Lupi and Theta Wang and said, I remember that in the Divine Land, in addition to the divine body of the Golden Dragon Ancestor Dragon, you also got the bodies of the Black Dragon Ancestor Dragon. I heard about this from Miss Fire Lotus. It seems that Princess Dragons and the Black Dragons disguised themselves as Miss Yi and her master to lure you and Hui out. But later, not only did they not succeed, but they were also killed by you. It seems that it was also at that time that you took away the Sunset Divine Bow and the other 3 divine artifacts. Pai Lupi said. That's right. I remember that there were the Black Dragon Ancestor Dragon, the Fire Dragon Ancestor Dragon, the Golden Dragon Ancestor Dragon, and the Silver Dragons. And when I left, I also put their bodies into the Black Tortoise realm. Where are their bodies now? Qin Feiyang asked. Miss Fire Lotus told us before that you might need it, so we kept it. Now, the divine bodies of the 4 ancestral dragons are in the top layer of the divine treasury. Pai Lupi said. Fire Lotus, this girl really knows me. Qin Feiyang chuckled, then said, okay, take it to the divine treasury and bring me the divine body of the Black Dragon Ancestor Dragon. Okay. The two opened an altar and rushed to the Desert of Death because the divine treasury was in the deepest part of the Desert of Death. Qin Feiyang also turned and walked to the front of the black python, and said with a smile, don't worry, they will be back soon. They are weaker than you, can they help this emperor? The black python had a doubtful look on its face. They definitely can't help you, but the thing they are going to take should be useful to you. Qin Feiyang smiled. What is it? The black python was surprised. You will know when you see it. Qin Feiyang smiled. The black python couldn't help but look forward to it. Seeing this person's calm expression, could he really have a way? If that was the case, it would be great. Because it wanted to become a divine dragon even in its dreams. Let me take a look at the situation in your body. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he sent his divine sense into the black python's body. The black python resisted a little, but since this was related to its transformation, it could only endure and let Qin Feiyang observe it. Chapter 3191. After a while, Qin Feiyang frowned and retracted his divine consciousness. Why are you frowning? Is there something about me that you don't like? The black python was suspicious. That's not it. I frowned because I couldn't find any traces of transformation in your body. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Generally speaking, there must be some basic conditions for transformation. For example, changes in the body and bloodline power. For example, when the five-clawed golden dragon was still a golden python, it had obviously grown dragon horns and dragon scales. But now, he couldn't find any traces of transformation in the black python's body. This could only mean one thing: the black python didn't meet the conditions to transform into a divine dragon. The Criminal Investigation Unit was really completing his mission. With his strength, as long as he was serious, how could he not notice these problems? Then do I have a chance? The black python looked at Qin Feiyang and frowned. To be honest, you can forget about transforming into a divine dragon in your lifetime. But you're lucky to have met me. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Hearing the first half of the sentence, the black python couldn't help but feel dejected. But when it heard the second half of the sentence, it immediately perked up. Although I can't turn you into a divine dragon immediately, I can increase the chances to 50%. Qin Feiyang smiled. Enough, enough. The black python nodded vigorously. For a 0% chance to become a 50% chance, it was already very heaven-defying and very lucky. It only hoped that this kid wasn't bluffing. Finally, Pai Lupi and Lin Jiufeng returned. Above their heads, the divine body of the black dragon ancestral dragon was suspended. However, it was cut into several pieces by Qin Feiyang. Although it had been so long, the pure dragon power could still be clearly felt. The black python also felt the aura of the divine body immediately and couldn't help but look over in shock. Although the cultivation of this divine body wasn't strong, the aura of the ancestral dragon made it instinctively fear. This is. Suddenly, the black python noticed the flame pattern between the black dragon ancestral dragon's eyebrows. That's right, this is the ancestral dragon. Although the ancestral dragon isn't as powerful as you, its bloodline power is the purest. As long as you integrate with this divine body, your bloodline power will gradually change. Qin Feiyang smiled. That was right. The divine body of the black dragon ancestral dragon was equivalent to a medicinal catalyst. He did not need to give the black python much benefits. He only needed to make the black python's bloodline power produce a trace of the divine dragon's bloodline power. This was equivalent to planting a seed in the black python's bloodline. As long as this seed could take root and germinate, it was only a matter of time before the black python transformed. Ancestral dragon's divine body. Isn't this ancestral dragon too weak? The black python was stunned. Qin Feiyang said, "It doesn't matter if it's weak or not, as long as it's useful to you. Don't waste time, hurry up and fuse with it." All right. The black python nodded. It dashed to the god body and started to fuse with it. In fact, Qin Feiyang was also a little puzzled. Why was the ancestral dragon so weak? Was it because the world was different? These ancestral dragons were born in the ancient realm, which was an independent world that had nothing to do with other worlds. So the ancestral dragons born in the ancient realm had nothing to do with the sky cloud realm? If that was the case, were there dragons in the sky cloud realm? If the sky cloud realm also had dragons, would the dragons of the sky cloud realm also have 10 ancestral dragons? Because the world was different, there was still this possibility. But so far, he had never heard of the existence of dragons in the sky cloud realm. Lord Ruler, if there's nothing else, we'll go back first. Pai Lupi transmitted to the two. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. With a wave of his hand, he sent the two directly to the devil's land. Immediately, Qin Feiyang did not think about the ancestral dragon anymore. He sat cross-legged in the void and began to ponder the fourth profound of the other five laws. Since he could not comprehend the fifth profound, he might as well comprehend the fourth profound of the other laws first. Time flew by. 10,000 years had passed in the Black Tortoise realm. Only 10 days had passed in the outside world. On this morning, somewhere in the eastern region of the Black Tortoise realm, two terrifying laws suddenly emerged, directly shocking the entire eastern region. Even Qin Feiyang and the Black Python in the western region felt it for the first time. The aura of the laws, it seems to be the fifth profound. The Black Python opened his eyes in surprise and looked in the direction of the eastern region. The fifth profound? Qin Feiyang was shocked. How could the fifth profound appear in the Black Tortoise realm? Wait. It couldn't be the two ancestors, right? He hurriedly looked at the Black Python and shouted, "You half-hearted, when will you succeed in the fusion?" But, the Black Python was still looking in the direction of the eastern region. That's none of your business. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he flashed and disappeared without a trace. This spatial divine object is too big. And there seems to be a lot of humans. The Black Python muttered, closed his eyes, and continued to fuse with his body. 10,000 years had passed, and he was about to succeed in the fusion. After all, his cultivation was strong, so his speed was naturally fast. At the same time, Qin Feiyang appeared in the sky above a mountain. But at this time, the mountain had been razed to the ground, dust billowing. And in the sky, there was another person who arrived before Qin Feiyang. That person was that little brat. Little brat had already used his origin power to set up a barrier to seal off the surroundings. Otherwise, not to mention this mountain, the entire eastern region might be affected. And in the center of the barrier, two figures were sitting cross-legged. Who else could it be but Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang? The two of them sat on the ground motionlessly, their bodies filled with a terrifying aura. The aura around Qin Feiyang was the law of space. On the other hand, the power of law around Lu Xingyang was black and gray in color. They were like flames that emitted a destructive aura. This is... Qin Feiyang was surprised. This is the law of nothingness. Its destructive power can be said to be the strongest among all the laws. As long as you comprehend the supreme profound, anything in front of the law of nothingness will be shattered and turned into nothingness. Little brat said. So strong. Qin Feiyang was stunned, looked at Lu Xingyang, and said, then isn't he invincible now? Invincible? Little brat was stunned, and said suspiciously, do you have some misunderstanding about the word invincible? Didn't you say that if he comprehended the supreme profound, anything can be shattered and turned into nothingness? Qin Feiyang said. Yes. Little brat nodded, and then said, but he hasn't comprehended the supreme profound yet. No. Qin Feiyang was stunned, looked at Lu Xingyang, and said with a frown, that's not right, hasn't he already comprehended it? Ah. Little brat looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. It seems that you don't have a misunderstanding about the word invincible, but about the supreme profound. The fifth profound is completely different from the supreme profound, you know. The fifth profound is the fifth profound, and the supreme profound is the strongest profound ability that surpasses the fifth profound. Little brat said. What? There's a supreme profound above the fifth profound? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. Little brat nodded. There's such a thing. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He originally thought that the fifth profound was the highest profound, but he didn't expect there to be a supreme profound above it. This profound ability is not as simple as you think. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, there's another layer of profound above the supreme profound. This layer of profound is called the ultimate profound, and it's also the strongest profound in the world. Little brat said indifferently. The supreme profound, the ultimate profound, Qin Fei Yang muttered. This was completely beyond his understanding. You can find out the details yourself. I don't have time to explain it to you. Little brat then looked at Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang below. Because the two of them had opened their eyes. The moment they opened their eyes, their aura suddenly soared. In just an instant, they broke through the bottleneck and stepped into the half-step sovereign realm. Not bad, not bad. Finally, 2 half-step sovereigns have been born. Little brat nodded and laughed. When Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang retracted their aura and power of laws, he waved his hand and wiped away the ripples in the void. Then, he put away the land of origin and disappeared above the firmament. How much time can I waste? Qin Fei Yang couldn't help but stare angrily at the firmament. How long would it take to explain to him? He made him look like a busy person. However, there was no other way. He dared to offend anyone, but he didn't dare to offend this little brat. Swoosh! Qin Fei Yang landed in front of Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang, cupping his hands and smiling. 2 ancestors, congratulations. Haha, the 2 of them were so happy that they forgot about home. Qin Batian said, Fei Yang, quickly comprehend the 5th profound because I found a problem. What problem? Qin Fei Yang was suspicious. After comprehending the 5th profound, I feel that the power of laws doesn't seem to be as profound as before. For example, my 2nd law, the law of fire. Now, I feel that it's much simpler than before. Qin Batian said. I feel the same. Lu Xingyang nodded. Really? Qin Fei Yang looked at the 2 of them in surprise. Yes. Maybe it's because you comprehended the 5th profound and stepped into the half-step sovereign realm, so all aspects have improved. Qin Batian said. Okay, I'll work hard. Qin Fei Yang was also looking forward to it. Qin Batian nodded and smiled. He looked at Lu Xingyang and said, Old Lu, we can't be arrogant and complacent. We have to hurry up and comprehend other laws. Otherwise, we will be surpassed by Fei Yang in frenzy sooner or later. I'll try my best. Lu Xingyang smiled bitterly. There was no need to talk about the lunatic, he was a monster. As for Qin Fei Yang, Lu Xingyang felt powerless whenever he thought of him. This was simply a freak. 2 ancestors, I have a suggestion. Qin Fei Yang said. What suggestion? The 2 of them were suspicious. Gather all those who have comprehended the power of laws together and have an exchange meeting to explain to each other the power of laws they have comprehended. In this way, others will be able to gain experience and comprehend other powers of laws more easily. Qin Fei Yang smiled. Chapter 3192. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Qin Batian slapped his head. This method is feasible. Anyway, there are no outsiders in the Black Tortoise realm. We don't have to be like those people from the Demon Palace and the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, guarding against each other, afraid that others will steal our skills. Lu Xingyang nodded. That's right. Everyone here is on the same side. There's no need to be selfish. Experienced people like you can teach all you know in the exchange. As for how much you can comprehend in the end, it depends on your luck. Qin Fei Yang smiled. Okay. When we go back, we'll organize it. Qin Batian nodded. Of course, it was urgent to do something that was beneficial to everyone. Then I'll send you back, but I can't go back for the time being. I have to keep an eye on that black python. Qin Fei Yang said. Black python? The 2 were stunned. Qin Fei Yang briefly explained the situation. So that's how it is. Okay, we'll arrange the exchange. When the time comes, you just have to take some time to explain it. Qin Batian smiled. Qin Fei Yang was stunned and smiled. There's no need for me to show off in front of an expert. Show off in front of an expert? You brat, are you mocking us? If someone who comprehended 7 types of law is called showing off in front of an expert, then what are we? The two couldn't help but roll their eyes. Okay. Let me know when the time comes. Qin Feiyang nodded. After sending the two back to the demon land, Qin Feiyang returned to the western region and continued to watch the black python. After Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang returned, they also actively organized the exchange. Hearing that there was going to be an exchange, everyone was naturally very happy, especially the 54 divine generals. They were born to fight, and they couldn't wait to comprehend 5 or 6 types of law like Qin Feiyang. This way, his strength would be even stronger in the future. After 2 days of arrangements, everyone was ready, and those who went out all rushed back. That was because there were many people who did not choose to shut themselves behind closed doors. Instead, they chose to go out and take a look. That way, they would be able to gain more. In the castle hall, it could accommodate hundreds of people. At this moment, everyone was sitting in the castle. The leaders were Lu Xingyang and Qin Batian. Mu Tianyang, Mu Qing, Dong Xingyang, Ancestor Mo, Long Tianyu, Wang Xiaojie, Qin Chen, and even Zhua Xiaoxian and Zhua Xiaocheng were there. Pai Lupi, Theta Wang, come in too. Qin Batian looked outside the door and saw Pai Lupi and Li Du looking like they wanted to go in but didn't dare to. He couldn't help but laugh. Hearing this, the two asked, "Can we?" "Of course you can. We're all on the same side. Are you still shy?" The big black wolf stared at him speechlessly. Thank you, thank you." The two apologized profusely and hurriedly ran in. Now that the black python was fusing with the ancestral dragon's divine body, it should not run around. However, no one knew when it would succeed in the fusion. If Qin Feiyang succeeded in the fusion when he returned to the Devil's Land, then he would have nothing to do. The black python would definitely run out to wander around, so it was better to keep an eye on it. Time flew by. 2 months passed. On this day, an aura suddenly emerged from the black python's body. Qin Feiyang immediately opened his eyes and looked at the black python with a hint of joy in his eyes. Because the black python's aura carried a trace of dragon's might. Although it was not obvious, it meant that his method was indeed feasible. He made a prompt decision. He integrated his divine sense into the black python's body and found that a trace of divine dragon's bloodline power was successfully born in the black python's bloodline. And this was a seed. At the same time, the black python opened its eyes and discovered the power of the divine dragon's bloodline. It was also extremely excited. Don't be happy too early. This is only the first step. The rest will depend on your own efforts. Qin Feiyang said. To be able to take this first step, this emperor is already very happy. Human, thank you so much. The black python said excitedly. No need to thank me. I have my reasons for helping you. As long as you can transform as soon as possible, that will be the best reward for me. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. What's the reason? The black python was suspicious. I want to use your heavenly tribulation to comprehend the 5th profundity of the law of thunder. Qin Feiyang did not hide it. I see. It seems that this is the reason why the Rogue Cultivator Alliance is looking for us everywhere. The black python came to a realization and said, in that case, this emperor is quite at a disadvantage. What disadvantage? Qin Feiyang frowned. To help you comprehend the 5th profundity and serve you for 100 million years, if this isn't a disadvantage, then what is? The black python pouted. Cut it out. Without me, do you have a chance to transform into a divine dragon? Besides, are you confident that you can pass the tribulation successfully? At that time, I will still have to help you. In short, this matter won't do you any harm. You just have to listen to my arrangements. Qin Feiyang said. All right. The black python nodded. Just as Qin Feiyang was about to speak, Fire Lotus's voice suddenly rang in his mind. Qin Dage, you're the only one left. When are you going to return to the Devil's Land? I'm the only one left. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Everyone is waiting for you. Fire Lotus replied. All right, I'll be there in a moment. Qin Feiyang replied and looked at the black python. There's something I have to tell you, and you have to help me keep it a secret. What is it? The black python was suspicious. This spatial divine item of mine has a time array, and it lasts for 1,000 years in a day. Qin Feiyang said. What? You actually have a time array that lasts for 1,000 years in a day? The black python was shocked. Yes. This is my secret. You must not leak it. Otherwise, I won't help you pass your tribulation. Qin Feiyang said. That's easy, that's easy. Don't worry, this emperor will definitely keep it a secret. The black python snickered. Why do I find it so hard to believe? Qin Feiyang frowned. You have to trust this emperor. Although this emperor isn't a good person, no, although I'm not a good person, I still know how to repay kindness. Besides, I still have to cultivate here, right? With this time array, this emperor will be able to transform even faster. The black python smiled flatteringly. At least you still have some conscience. How about this? I have something to deal with. You go out first, I'll bring you in later. Qin Feiyang said. Anyway, after the black python left the black tortoise world, it would connect this point. So, he might as well take the initiative to say it and keep it a secret in advance. All right. The black python nodded. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the black python immediately appeared outside. It's out. How is it? Huoluan and the other beasts immediately surrounded it. The black python was silent. It looked around and asked, how long has it been? About 10 days. Huoluan said. 10 days. The black python was stunned. There was actually a time array. This human kid wasn't simple. Say it, how is it? Huoluan urged. Feel it yourselves. The black python released a wisp of aura. This is, dragon's might. You succeeded. The group of beasts was dumbfounded. Don't be like this, it's just the first step. The black python said humbly, but its expression was full of pride. Since he succeeded in the first step, he's not far from the second step. How did he do it? Huoluan asked. Well, it's a secret. The black python chuckled. Huoluan stared at it angrily. The other beasts also had a look of displeasure. This arrogant look, they really wanted to kick it. At the same time, their hearts were also burning with passion. Since this Mo Yuan could make this guy transform, it would definitely be able to make them transform too. They were looking forward to it. Chapter 3193. Black Tortoise World. Qin Feiyang still couldn't trust the black python. After all, they had just met. Moreover, the character of a beast was unpredictable. Therefore, he had been observing. With his strength, even if the black python didn't keep its promise and leaked the time array, he couldn't do anything to it. However, he could at least interrupt it at the critical moment. Fortunately, it was a very honest guy. Later, Qin Feiyang returned to the Devil's Land. Everyone sat in the hall of the castle, waiting. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Then I'll talk about the law of cause and effect first. The so-called cause and effect is retribution after retribution in an endless cycle. To put it more simply, it's a kind of relationship. Whether it's between humans, beasts, or humans, as long as you know each other and meet, there will be a karmic connection. The difference is whether it's more or less. Qin Feiyang didn't have any opening remarks and directly began to explain. In fact, everyone was only interested in the law of cause and effect. This was because the other laws, such as the law of slaughter, the law of thunder, and the law of war, had been explained by these lunatics. As for the law of light, the law of force, and the law of wind, some people had also comprehended them. For example, Wang Ming had comprehended the law of force. Some of the 54 warlords had also comprehended the law of light and the law of wind. Therefore, Qin Feiyang also needed to explain the law of cause and effect. After half a day, Qin Feiyang finally finished explaining without hiding anything. As he and Qin Batian had said, everyone here was on the same side, so there was no need to hide anything. For a moment, everyone was pondering the mystery behind it. Feiyang, I'll send you all the content I've recorded over the past few days. Qin Batian took out the divine voice stone and sent scenes and videos to Qin Feiyang. After that, he fell into deep thought. Qin Feiyang glanced at everyone and got up to leave the castle. First, he didn't want to disturb everyone. Second, he didn't want to be disturbed. Therefore, he found a quiet place and carefully watched the content and videos sent by Qin Batian. Among them, he paid special attention to the laws of spacetime, the laws of nothingness, the laws of life, and the laws of time. Because these three laws were the same as the law of karma. They were the strongest laws in the world. Qin Batian, Lu Zhengyang, the mermaid princess, and the fire lotus explained the 4 types of laws in great detail. However, even so, it was difficult for him to comprehend. After all, laws were not battle manuals or divine arts. One could understand it with just a little thought. When he finished reading Mad Scientist's explanation, he couldn't help but frown. This guy explained the law of slaughter, the law of lightning, the law of war, and the newly comprehended law of fire. This required a very long time to comprehend. When he finished reading Madman's explanation, he couldn't help but be slightly stunned. This guy actually only talked about the law of lightning, the law of slaughter, the law of war, and the newly comprehended law of darkness. As for the law power inherited from the temple, he actually didn't mention a single word. At that time in the temple, what kind of power of law did this guy inherit that made him so secretive? Could it also be an ultimate law? Selfish bastard. Everyone had revealed their powers of law without holding anything back. Only this guy had been hiding something. There was also the white-eyed wolf. From the beginning to the end, he didn't see the white-eyed wolf appear. This little bastard must also be hiding some heaven-defying method. Because at that time, the aura that the white-eyed wolf suddenly emitted made even them feel fear. Moreover, this fear came from the power of their laws. Just think about it, how could something that could threaten the power of laws be ordinary? Definitely not. It was just that the white-eyed wolf had been hiding it, so he had no way to find out. As for forcing it to answer, that was even more impossible. After all, after being together for so many years, he still knew the white-eyed wolf's temper. If it didn't want to say, it would be useless even if you held a knife to its neck. Qin Feiyang shook his head and didn't think about these problems that gave him a headache. He left the black tortoise world and found the black python. Naturally, he couldn't avoid being questioned by the fire Luan and the other beasts. However, he merely smiled mysteriously. Then, he brought the enormous black python with him and reappeared in the western region. He continued to stare at it the entire time. Although the black python didn't talk nonsense outside, the real situation in the black tortoise world couldn't be discovered by it. After all, compared to an independent world, a time array was on a completely different level. If the black python knew that this was an independent world, who knew what kind of thoughts it would have, so he had to be careful. Xiao Jin, where did this guy go? It's been so many days and he hasn't come back. Could it be that those beasts cut him into pieces? Heavenly Peak. The lady in green stood on the peak and looked at the beasts in the distance, her eyes full of suspicion. "What's wrong, Sister Dandan? You haven't seen him for a few days and you're already missing him?" Zhao Xiaojin said with a smile. "You little girl, what are you talking about? Are you asking for a beating?" The lady in green glared at Zhao Xiaojin and snorted, "I haven't fought with him yet." "Fight?" Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. "Fight with Qin Feiyang? You must be dreaming." However, she definitely wouldn't say that out loud. "What's wrong? You don't have confidence in me?" The lady in green looked at her unhappily. "That's for sure. You know that he has mastered 7 types of law. Among them, the law of thunder and the law of karma have already reached the 4th profound. How are you going to fight with him?" Zhao Xiaojin smiled. "I'm not stupid. Why do I have to fight with him using law? I still have divine weapons and divine techniques." The lady in green pouted. "Divine weapons and divine techniques? Sister Dandan, you have to know that he's the vice leader's disciple. How could he not have divine techniques and divine weapons?" Zhao Xiaojin shook her head. "This person even has a sovereign divine weapon. In front of a sovereign divine weapon, your divine weapons and divine techniques are just child's play. Xiaojin, why are you always attacking me? Are you still my sister? You're siding with an outsider. Tell me honestly, did he give you any benefits?" The lady in green glared at Zhao Xiaojin angrily. Fine. If you don't like to hear the truth, then I'll just say some polite words. Sister, you can do it. He's definitely not your match. I'll go cultivate first. You can continue." After saying that, Zhao Xiaojin fled into her cave residence. "Damn girl." The lady in green pouted, then looked at the mountain range and snorted coldly before returning to her cave residence. In the blink of an eye. Half a year passed. In the Black Tortoise world, 180,000 years had passed. 1/3 of the Black Python's bloodline power had evolved into the Divine Dragon's bloodline power. Moreover, there were a few large lumps on its head and abdomen. Qin Feiyang looked at the lumps and was extremely excited. This was the precursor to the birth of dragon horns and claws. Other than that, on the black python's neck, there was a fingernail-sized dragon scale. This dragon scale was completely different from the other dragon scales. It was harder, sharper, and emitted a hazy divine light. And that was the reverse scale. Once the reverse scale appeared, it meant that the second step of the black python's evolution had been completed. This was because the reverse scale was the most important thing to a divine dragon. And the reverse scale also represented the identity of a divine dragon. Soon, you can do it. Qin Feiyang looked at the black python encouragingly. The black python was naturally very excited. With this 1 day and 1,000 years time array, the effect would be different. Time passed again. Another half a year passed outside. It was also on this day. Qin Feiyang appeared with the black python. Boom! Crack! Immediately. In the sky, the tribulation clouds roared and a terrifying heavenly might enveloped the entire azure wave snow mountain. What's going on? At the same time, everyone in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was alarmed. Everyone ran out of their homes or cave residences and looked up at the sky. At the same time, Yi Tian, Zhao Xiaojin, and the lady in green also ran out of their cave residences and stood on Heavenly Peak, looking at the sky above the mountain range in shock. That's Mo Fengyuan. And the black python that Xingde brought back. Wait. Look, that black python seems a little different. What's it called? It seems different. It's obviously different from before. Look, there are big lumps on its head and under its abdomen. Those are obviously dragon horns and dragon claws. Also, look at the dragon scale on its neck. It's as big as a dustpan. That's the reverse scale of a divine dragon. This guy is obviously going to transform. And this is its heavenly tribulation. The other hall of the exalted disciples also ran over and discussed. Heavenly tribulation. What kind of joke is this? It's a great perfection sovereign. How terrifying is its heavenly tribulation? We have to make it leave, or else we're all done for. That's right. The heavenly tribulation of a great perfection sovereign was enough to flatten the azure wave snow mountain in an instant. Therefore, at this moment, everyone was very anxious. Qin Feiyang also knew how terrifying the heavenly tribulation was, so he did not let the black python undergo it in the black tortoise realm. After all, even the fire dragon's heavenly tribulation was so terrifying, let alone the black python. It's really a success. This human kid is awesome. Looks like we have to curry favor with him. At the same time, Fire Luan and the other beasts were very excited. Everyone cared about the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, but Cable and the other beasts definitely did not care. Even if the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was destroyed, it was none of their business. They were only concerned about Qin Feiyang's safety now. Because this was a key figure whether they could transform or not. Therefore, they immediately ran up and protected Qin Feiyang. Swish! Suddenly, another 12 people descended on the Hall of the Exalted. These people, without exception, all exuded an unfathomable aura. Leading them were the Vice Leader and the Hall of Famers. Next were the 9 elders of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. Finally, the Hall of the Exalted Elder, which was the old man in red. They're all here. Nonsense, such a big event, how dare they not come? The disciples below discussed. Old man Qi, quickly bring them to the trial ground. No, it's too late. Go to the fighting arena. Seeing the situation, the Vice Leader immediately looked at the Hall of Famers and shouted. Chapter 3194. The Hall of Famers did not dare to be negligent as it concerned the safety of the entire Rogue Cultivator Alliance. He took a step forward, grabbed the black python, and instantly landed on the square of the assignment hall. With a stomp of his foot, the entrance to the fighting arena rose from the ground. Then, he brought the giant black python and swept into the fighting arena. During this period, no one is allowed to step into the fighting arena. The Vice Leader shouted coldly and turned to the assignment hall. The 9 elders and the red-clothed old man followed closely behind. However, there was another figure who landed on the square before them. This person was naturally Qin Feiyang. It was not easy to wait for this moment, but to let him stay outside. Wouldn't that be a waste of time? What are you doing? Looking at Qin Feiyang, who was about to enter the fighting arena, the Vice Leader shouted. Master, if you don't let me in, how can I comprehend the fifth profound? Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. The Vice Leader was stunned. He had actually forgotten about this matter. He had gathered these beasts for this disciple in front of him. Now that the black python was about to pass the tribulation, he naturally would not miss this opportunity. However, this sovereign realm tribulation was not to be trifled with. Even if it was him, he would have to retreat. You can enter, but before you are confident, don't act recklessly. The Vice Leader warned. Understood. Qin Feiyang nodded. The Vice Leader looked at the red-clothed old man and said in a deep voice, You stay here and don't let anyone in. Yes. The red-clothed old man nodded respectfully. The Vice Alliance Master swept a glance at the disciples that had followed them. Then, he led Qin Feiyang and the 9 elders into the fighting arena without turning his head back. Did you guys hear that just now? Mo Yuanchuan actually called the Vice Leader Master. Is there something wrong with my ears? No, I heard it too. When did this happen? There was no news at all. Also, I heard him say that he wanted to use the Python's tribulation to comprehend the fifth profound. This guy is crazy. Is the sovereign realm tribulation something he can play around with? Everyone gathered around the mountain peak and discussed animatedly. Li Yuandao was there as well. His eyes were filled with emotion. This person's rise was unstoppable. The only question was whether he could successfully comprehend the fifth profound. If he could, then he would truly be number one in the Hall of Fame. In the past, although Qin Feiyang's talent was outstanding, his cultivation was only at the imperishable realm. However, once he stepped into the sovereign realm, it was completely different. This was because the strongest person in the Hall of the Exalted was only a small stage dominator. Given Qin Feiyang's abilities, once he stepped into the half-step ruler realm, even these little rulers would likely be no match for him. Grandpa Qi, can we go in and take a look? The green-clothed girl dragged Zhao Xiaojin and Yi Tian over to the red-clothed old man and giggled. Dandan, don't make things difficult for an old man like me. You heard it too. This is an order from the vice leader. How would I dare to let you in? The old man shook his head. Grandpa Qi, don't you see how filial I am? Just tell us to go in and take a look. The green-clothed girl hugged the old man's arm and used her trump card, acting coquettishly. I really can't. If it was something else, he would agree. However, he couldn't be soft-hearted about this. The green-clothed girl immediately lowered her head in grievance. In the arena. Rumble. Crack. The tribulation clouds roared, and the heavenly might was vast and mighty. The black python floated in the air, looking at the tribulation clouds in the sky with excitement and anxiety. It was finally transcending the tribulation. However, this heavenly tribulation seemed to be somewhat beyond its imagination. Could it safely transcend it? This heavenly tribulation can only rely on itself. We can't help it. Retreat further away. The Hall of Famers said in a low voice. The vice leader and the 9 elders nodded and retreated into the distance. However, Qin Feiyang didn't move. He looked at the sky, his eyes filled with anticipation. Wait. What if it was the same as the previous trial and his physical body was shattered by the tribulation? Wouldn't his divine soul be exposed? No. He had to get the vice leader and the others to leave the arena. What could he do? Crack. Suddenly, the first tribulation descended from the sky with the power to destroy the world. The black python immediately released its aura to welcome the tribulation. Mo Yuan, come over quickly. The Hall of Famers saw that Qin Feiyang was still standing there motionlessly and hurriedly shouted. Qin Feiyang quietly retreated to the side of the others. The Grand Elder saw through Qin Feiyang's thoughts and said in a low voice, although you want to use this tribulation to comprehend the fifth profound, you don't have to face it directly. You can observe from afar. Then you know that if I don't face the tribulation directly, it won't be of much use. Qin Feiyang said. Observing from afar is indeed not as effective as facing the tribulation directly, but at least it won't be life-threatening. To be honest, this is the first time we've encountered a tribulation at the peak sovereign realm, so even we don't know how powerful it is. The Grand Elder's tone was incomparably solemn. Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered when he heard that. These people weren't familiar with the tribulation, but he was very familiar with it. According to his past experience, it was impossible for people of the same realm to withstand the power of the tribulation. Therefore, in the end, these people would definitely be forced to leave the fighting arena. In other words, he didn't need to think of a way, he just needed to wait patiently. Crack. The first heavenly tribulation fell with a loud bang. The black python immediately let out a miserable howl, the scales on its body shattered, and it was instantly covered in blood. At the same time, the power of the tribulation turned into an invisible wave of air that rolled in all directions. Quick! The vice leader roared. Other than Qin Feiyang, everyone appeared, and their divine power roared out, condensing into a barrier. Boom! The wave of air rushed over, and the barrier immediately began to tremble and distort. So powerful. The vice leader and the others were shocked. This was the tribulation at the peak sovereign realm. Even with the strength of the 11 of them, they still couldn't withstand it. Crack. The second tribulation descended. Damn you, if you have the ability, blast me to death. The black python roared, and the power of 6 laws appeared. They were the law of metal, the law of wind, the law of strength, the law of water, the law of darkness, and the law of earth. The power of the 6 laws turned into a torrent that went straight for the tribulation. Accompanied by a loud bang, the tribulation and the 6 laws met, and the void of the fighting arena immediately began to collapse, and the earth was also crazily annihilated. The wave of air that surged in all directions also suddenly increased by a level. The barrier formed by the vice leader and the others trembled even more violently. 11's expression was extremely solemn. The vice leader turned to look at Qin Feiyang and said in a deep voice, "The seriousness of the situation is somewhat beyond imagination, quickly go out." No. Qin Feiyang shook his head, staring at the sky. He wanted to see if there was any effect by observing from afar. Why is he so stubborn? The vice leader was a little angry. This isn't stubbornness, this is persistence, a desire for strength. I'm afraid it's because of this that he can far surpass his peers. The Hall of Famers, on the other hand, somewhat admired Qin Feiyang's courage. To achieve great things, one had to have a little courage. Cowering and being afraid of death, what kind of future could one have? Nonsense. He's not your disciple, of course you don't feel sorry for him. The vice leader glared at him angrily. What do you mean by that? Back then, it was you who snatched him from my hands, otherwise he would definitely be my disciple now. The Hall of Famers said angrily. That's because you don't have the ability. The vice leader sneered. I don't have the ability. Surname Ji, are you looking for trouble? Why don't we compete and see who's more powerful? The Hall of Famers shouted. I say, the two of you, enough. What time is it now, and you're still fighting? The Grand Elder looked at the two speechlessly. Humph. The vice leader and the Hall of Famers snorted at the same time and looked at the black python again. Crack. The third heavenly tribulation fell. The black python's aura was like a rainbow, and the power of 6 laws was like 6 giant dragons, roaring in the sky and blasting toward the heavenly tribulation. Boom! Even so, it couldn't stop the terrifying heavenly tribulation. The 6 laws were instantly annihilated. The heavenly tribulation fell and instantly drowned the black python. The black python howled in pain, and the scales on its body were almost all shattered, and its body was a bloody mess. It can't succeed. The second elder shook his head. This heavenly tribulation was too terrifying, far surpassing that of a perfected dominator. If it were them, none of them would have the confidence to successfully pass this heavenly tribulation. The fourth heavenly tribulation fell. Not only did the black python suffer fatal injuries, but the barrier set up by the vice leader and the others also finally reached its limit and collapsed instantly. Again. The vice leader shouted. The 11 of them began to use their power of laws to condense a barrier. Even so, the barrier was wildly distorting, and it would collapse at any time. This is only the fourth heavenly tribulation. Qin Feiyang muttered. If the fourth heavenly tribulation was so terrifying, then what about the rest? To be honest, at this moment, he didn't have any confidence at all. This was more terrifying than any heavenly tribulation he had faced before. Moreover, it wasn't just 1 or 2 times, but tens of thousands of times. Crack. The fifth heavenly tribulation came again. A trace of fear finally appeared in the black python's eyes. 100,000 feet long divine body. It roared, and its body crazily enlarged. In just a moment, it was like a towering mountain in the sky. This was the fifth profundity of the law of power. The law of power mainly strengthened the physical body and strength. As for the fifth profundity, it was practically 5 times stronger than its original foundation. Boom! It raised its huge tail and smashed it toward the heavenly tribulation. Roar! However, with a miserable cry, its huge tail shattered on the spot, and it was once again drowned by the heavenly tribulation. Its flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and even its bones were exposed. Mouyuan, didn't you say that you would help me pass the heavenly tribulation? Hurry up and help. I can't hold on any longer. The black python roared, its eyes filled with despair. Help. The vice leader and the others couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyang in shock. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and smiled embarrassedly. Back then, I just said it casually. I didn't expect it to take it seriously. Is this something that you can casually say? The group of people rolled their eyes. Even they didn't have the confidence, let alone this kid. Chapter 3195. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He originally thought that he should be able to help the black python transcend the tribulation, but now, he didn't have much confidence in his heart. Crack! The sixth heavenly tribulation came again. The black python was directly blasted down and was on the verge of death. At the same time, cracks began to appear on the barrier set up by the Vice Alliance Master and the others. Not good. Quickly withdraw from the fighting arena. The Vice Leader shouted. What about it? The Great Elder pointed at the black python. Good luck. The Vice Alliance Chief shook his head. Then, he brought Qin Feiyang and rushed toward the exit. Master, I can't leave. Qin Feiyang hurriedly said. If you don't leave, you'll be waiting for death here. The Vice Leader said angrily. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. No matter what, I can't miss it. Master, please grant this disciple's wish. Qin Feiyang bowed and said. You're really not afraid of death? The Vice Leader frowned. Wealth comes from danger. This disciple wants to take this gamble. Qin Feiyang said word by word, his eyes shining with determination. Old man Yi, why don't you grant his wish? The Hall of Famers frowned and looked at the Vice Leader and sighed. Grant his wish? Don't you know that this is granting his wish to court death? The Vice Leader roared. But perhaps a miracle will happen to him. Besides, if you forcefully take him out now, he will definitely be unwilling and might even blame you in the future. The Hall of Famers said. The Vice Leader's expression was uncertain. In the end, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Have you made up your mind? N. Qin Feiyang nodded. Fine, I'll grant your wish. But remember, you must come out alive. The Vice Leader reminded. Yes. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. This barrier can still hold on for a while. You can take the opportunity to make some preparations. After saying that, the Vice Leader turned and left resolutely. Good luck. This old man thinks highly of you. The Hall of Famers also patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder, smiled encouragingly, and rushed into the space-time rift as well. Little fellow, this old man has never admired anyone in my life. You are an exception. Work hard. The First Elder also gave Qin Feiyang a thumbs up and smiled appreciatively. Before the other elders left, they also gave Qin Feiyang a look of encouragement. However, they could only give him moral support. There was nothing else they could do. Because the power of laws had to rely on oneself in the first place, others could not help. Seeing the group of people leave, Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief. Whoosh! With a thought, Madman appeared in the barrier. Fuck, what's going on? Madman was shocked. See for yourself. Qin Feiyang gestured angrily at the black python. I see. Madman suddenly realized. He had known about the black python for a long time and also knew the purpose of Qin Fei Yang cultivating it, but what did this have to do with him? Don't you want to comprehend the fifth profound? Qin Fei Yang chuckled. Madman was taken aback for a moment, then suddenly patted his head and said, yes, I can also use this tribulation to comprehend the fifth profound of the law of thunder. See, I'm good to you. If there's something good, I will never forget you. Qin Fei Yang smiled. Something good? The corner of Madman's mouth twitched as he shook his head and said, I don't think it's something good this time. The black python did not notice Madman's appearance at all, because it was not in the mood to pay attention to anything else. The great Madman Mo is actually afraid of danger, don't make me laugh. Qin Fei Yang chuckled. Don't provoke me. Whether I'm afraid or not is one thing. Whether I do it or not is another. Madman rolled his eyes at him. Then do it or do it? Qin Fei Yang asked with a smile. Is there a difference between these two sentences? Madman was speechless. He looked up at the seventh tribulation and laughed, then do it. Great. But first, change back to Mo Wuhui's appearance. Qin Fei Yang said. Is that necessary? Madman was taken aback. Facing this kind of tribulation, his physical body would definitely be destroyed. When his divine soul came out, wouldn't it be discovered by the black python? If you can expose yourself, try not to expose yourself, right? Qin Fei Yang asked. Okay. Madman took an illusion pill and instantly changed into Mo Wuhui's appearance. Then, the two of them kept the universe ring in the castle. Boom! At the same time, the seventh tribulation struck the black python. Its huge body was directly split into several halves. At this moment, it was in extreme despair. If it had known this would happen, it would not have gone through the tribulation even if it was beaten to death. Metamorphosis was important, but its life was more important. Crack. The eighth tribulation came again. It had already closed its eyes and was waiting for death. Whoosh! But at this moment, two figures rushed over and hovered in the sky. The black python opened its eyes and looked at Qin Fei Yang in surprise. Did he really come to help it? How could there be such a foolish human? Did he know how terrifying this tribulation was? He was only at the peak imperishable realm. Wasn't he courting death by coming here? Suddenly, it looked at Madman again. Who was this person? Before it had time to think, the eighth tribulation came. It was stronger than the previous tribulation. The black python could not help but worry for Qin Fei Yang and Madman. Let's begin. Qin Fei Yang said. Okay. Madman nodded. The two of them closed their eyes and the thunder law rolled out like a torrent, going against the current and surging towards the tribulation. What are they doing? The black python was stunned. Boom! In an instant, the two thunder laws collided with the tribulation. Without any suspense, the two thunder laws were directly annihilated. The two of them suddenly spat out blood and their bodies also cracked with shocking bloody marks. With the power of this tribulation, once it fell, not only could it instantly shatter their bodies, it could also instantly obliterate their divine soul. But at this moment, the two of them did not panic at all. It was as if they didn't feel the pain of their bodies cracking. They didn't care. Because before they attacked, they were already prepared for their bodies to be shattered. Moreover, according to the previous two experiences, only after the body was shattered would the divine soul have a chance to merge with the tribulation. After merging, they would be able to comprehend the mysteries contained in the tribulation. And now, they had activated the law of lightning in order to make preparations. Because if the thunder law could merge with the tribulation first, when the tribulation fell, not only could it reduce the damage to them, but it would also be easier for their divine soul to merge with the tribulation. I have successfully merged. Although it's only a little, I have achieved my goal. Madman suddenly said. Me too. Qin Feiyang nodded. Before his voice faded, the heavenly tribulation arrived. The two of them shattered on the spot and their divine soul also dissipated. It was too fast. The black python that had been staring at the two of them didn't even see the appearance of their divine souls before their divine souls were drowned by the tribulation. An aura of death suddenly shrouded them. But the two of them didn't panic in the face of danger. Their divine souls quickly merged with the tribulation and comprehended the mysteries within. Righteous. If we can succeed this time, if we don't die, then you will be this emperor's brothers in the future. Looking at Qin Feiyang and Madman whose bodies had been shattered, the black python was extremely moved. But now, Qin Feiyang and Madman were not in the mood to pay attention to it, and they had completely forgotten about the existence of the black python. Their bodies and minds were completely immersed in the profound meaning of thunder. They didn't dare to be distracted now. Because the power of the tribulation was too terrifying, their divine soul couldn't hold on for long. If they couldn't comprehend the fifth profound meaning before their divine soul was annihilated, then there was only one ending: their divine soul would be destroyed. Although only a moment had passed in reality, Qin Feiyang and Madman felt that it was as long as a few centuries. At this moment, their minds seemed to have entered a magical space. This space seemed to be endless. The two of them were like headless flies, shuttling back and forth in the space, full of confusion. Because here, there was nothing but the power of thunder that filled the sky. In this mysterious space, time passed bit by bit. No one knew how long had passed. Suddenly, they felt that there was something in front of them that was calling them, and they couldn't help but rush forward. It also felt like a few centuries had passed. The power of thunder in front of them became denser and denser. But to them, it didn't cause any harm. Suddenly, there was a trace of surprise in their eyes, as if there was something floating in front of them. But they couldn't see it clearly. Immediately, they began to chase after that mysterious thing. Gradually, that thing became more and more obvious. It was a huge outline that looked like a sea, but it didn't feel like a sea. It felt like another few centuries had passed. Finally, they saw that thing clearly. It was actually a thunder pool. But the strange thing was that in the endless thunder pool, there was only a wisp of the power of thunder. The two of them entered the thunder pool with doubts. There was no danger. The two of them slowly approached that wisp of thunder. Although there was no danger, this wisp of thunder gave them a kind of pressure that came from the heart. What is this? Wait. Could this be the source of the thunder law? Qin Feiyang raised his arm in surprise and slowly reached out towards that wisp of thunder. Whoosh! When his fingertips touched that strand of lightning energy, that strand of lightning energy actually drilled into his fingertips with a whoosh. Then, it turned into a surge of boundless energy that flowed through his fingers, arms, and flooded his entire body. And at the same time, Qin Feiyang entered a mysterious state. He forgot about himself, forgot about others, forgot about everything, and only the profound meaning of the thunder law was left in his mind. The first profound meaning, the second profound meaning, the third profound meaning, the fourth profound meaning, they constantly evolved, intertwined, and overlapped in his mind. His understanding of the profound meaning was also getting deeper and deeper. Boom! No one knew how long had passed. Suddenly, a bolt of thunder tore through the sky, descending from the sky with a great momentum. The mysterious thunder pool that Qin Feiyang was in began to collapse. However, when Qin Feiyang saw that bolt of thunder, he was dumbfounded. This bolt of thunder was actually just a small wisp of thunder. It was no exaggeration to say that it was similar to a strand of hair, but it emitted an aura that could destroy heaven and earth. It felt that even a peak-level heaven-defying artifact would not be able to stop it. However, this wisp of thunder gave Qin Feiyang a very intimate feeling, as if it was a part of his body. Chapter 3196. The lightning struck down and directly entered Qin Feiyang's head. Boom! Immediately, a monstrous power erupted from Qin Feiyang's body. Along with this divine might, numerous bolts of lightning surged out. They seemed to be boundless, and with him as the center, they surged out in all directions. Boom! The lightning pool was completely destroyed. This mysterious space was also crazily collapsing. Qin Feiyang did not seem to notice any of this, and even slowly closed his eyes and entered a meditative state again. The four profound thaumaturgies of the law of thunder were once again evolved in his mind. And compared to before, he felt that these profound thaumaturgies were much more thorough than before. Suddenly, a purple armor appeared in front of him. This was the first profound of the law of thunder, thunder armor. Clang! Immediately after, a purple hammer appeared, vast and mighty. This was the second profound, Thunder God's hammer. In the next instant, roar! Thunderous dragon roars could be heard as lightning dragons roared out. Third profound, Thunder's wrath. Crack! Boom! Immediately after, waves of lightning power appeared all around, like a heavenly tribulation, roaring in this collapsed space. The fourth profound, Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. The four profound thaumaturgies were fully displayed, exuding a world-destroying aura. Boom! Suddenly, these four profound thaumaturgies flew towards each other, intertwining and fusing with each other. Finally, all the profound thaumaturgies fused into one, forming a palm-sized lightning pool. Just like the lightning pool Qin Feiyang saw before, there was a strand of lightning power floating in the center of the lightning pool. At this moment, Qin Feiyang's comprehension of the law of thunder rose to another level. Lightning pool, thunderclap, the strand of lightning power that descended from the sky before was the source of the law of thunder. The so-called source was this piece of heaven and earth. All things were born from this world, and so was the law of thunder. The lightning pool appeared, thunderclap. This was the fifth profound of the law of thunder. The moment the lightning pool and thunderclap appeared, this mysterious space completely collapsed. Qin Feiyang's mind also retreated. Although he had stayed in this mysterious space for a long time, only a moment had passed outside. The terrifying heavenly tribulation was destroying his divine soul. When his consciousness returned, Qin Feiyang once again felt the aura of death. Not good, run. Frenzy's voice suddenly sounded beside him. Obviously, he had already come out of that mysterious space. Although they had comprehended the fifth profound and their immunity against heavenly tribulation, the heavenly tribulation of perfection sovereign realm was too terrifying. This immunity didn't have much effect at all. In other words, if they didn't retreat, they would definitely die. But if they retreated, what would happen to them? Although he and the black python were both taking what they needed, he couldn't bear to leave the black python behind just like that. Moreover, after comprehending the fourth profound of the law of karma, Qin Feiyang was especially concerned about this kind of karma. Because he could feel that this karma was everywhere. As long as he could find more karma, he would be able to comprehend the fifth profound. And there was an inevitable karma between him and the black python. Because he was the one who had brought the black python here, and he was also the one who had given the black python a chance to transform. Similarly, because of the black python's transformation, he and Frenzy had both comprehended the fifth profound. This was the karma between them. And now, if he didn't care about the black python's life or death, he would be severing the karma between them. Severing the karma was equivalent to destroying the karma. On the contrary, if he helped the black python succeed in its tribulation, the karma between them would continue to multiply. Perhaps in the future, he would be able to comprehend the fifth profound just by relying on the karma between him and the black python. But how could he help? Even the Vice Alliance leader and the others couldn't stop such a heavenly tribulation, let alone him. One had to know. Although he had comprehended the fifth profound, because he had lost his physical body, he hadn't broken through to half-step ruler. Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to compare to the Vice Alliance leader and the others. Go! Frenzy shouted anxiously. Right now, he only had 2 wisps of divine soul left. Qin Feiyang was the same. The hand of the death god was reaching for the 2 of them. Clang! But at this moment, a black divine light appeared and covered the surroundings. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed when he saw this. He couldn't be more familiar with this thing. In the next moment, the ancient castle appeared in front of him, protecting his and Frenzy's divine soul. It actually appeared of its own accord. Could it be that this heavenly tribulation has already reached the level of a sovereign weapon? Frenzy was surprised. This was simply unexpected. You don't say. Even if this heavenly tribulation hasn't reached the level of a sovereign weapon, it's probably not far off. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with wariness. In the future, he definitely couldn't casually touch the heavenly tribulation of a peak ruler. As soon as the ancient castle appeared, all the lightning power in the surroundings was absorbed by it. Moreover, the following heavenly tribulations also disappeared from the ancient castle. What's the situation? Below. The black python looked at the sky in surprise. Because at this moment, whether it was the ancient castle or Qin Feiyang's divine soul, they were all enveloped by the black light, so it couldn't see anything. Moreover, the ancient castle also deliberately concealed its aura. Therefore, even if someone had seen the ancient castle before, they probably wouldn't be able to recognize it now, let alone the black python. At this moment, there was only one question in its mind. What exactly happened? Time passed bit by bit. The 99th heavenly tribulation finally descended and disappeared from the ancient castle. The tribulation clouds began to dissipate. A ray of auspicious light descended from the sky and fused into the black python's body. The black python immediately revealed a comfortable expression. Crack! Accompanied by the sound of skin cracking, dragon horns and dragon claws broke out of its body one after another. The injuries all over its body were also healing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and black dragon scales grew out. Roar! A moment later, it raised its head and let out a dragon roar, soaring into the sky, exuding a monstrous dragon might. It's a success, a success. This emperor has finally become a true divine beast. This excitement made it difficult for it to extricate itself. All right. Let's also reconstruct our bodies in the Black Tortoise realm. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Frenzy responded. You can't go to the Black Tortoise realm now. The voice of the ancient castle suddenly sounded in their minds. Why? The 2 of them were suspicious. Because the vice leader and the others will come to the fighting arena later. When they see that you aren't here, they will definitely use their divine sense to search. Although with me here, they won't be able to force their way into the Black Tortoise realm. But if they know that even they can't break the Black Tortoise realm, won't they be suspicious? Why do you have such a powerful spatial divine object? In short, it's better to have less trouble. You guys first think of a way to deal with them, then come to the Black Tortoise realm. The ancient castle said. All right. Qin Feiyang responded. Swish. The ancient castle disappeared, and the divine light also dissipated. Qin Feiyang and Frenzy's divine sense appeared. But it wasn't in human form, but in mist form. Seeing this, the black python hurriedly ran to the 2 of them and said gratefully, Thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for your help, this emperor really wouldn't know what to do. We're helping each other, so there's no need to be so polite. Qin Feiyang smiled. Ha! I'm ashamed. In the past, this emperor thought that humans weren't anything good, but I didn't expect to meet you. You helped this emperor transform, and even helped this emperor pass his tribulation. In the end, you could have abandoned this emperor, but you didn't, brother. With this friendship of yours, if you don't mind, you can call this emperor Big Brother from now on. We'll be blood brothers. If you have any problems, just say it. The black python roared heroically. Right, it should be called Black Dragon now. Sure, Big Brother Black Dragon. Qin Feiyang smiled. This was karma. Good people would be rewarded, and evil people would be repaid with evil. Black Dragon said, then brother, hurry up and reconstruct your divine sense and divine body. This emperor will protect you. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said, this is not the place to reconstruct the divine sense and divine body. Take us back to the cave abode, it's best to hide our auras on the way. Because he and Frenzy were both in their divine sense form, they couldn't hide their auras, so if they went out like this, they would probably be recognized immediately. As for why Black Dragon didn't recognize them, it was probably because he had heard of their names, but had never seen them in person. Okay. With this emperor around, no one will be able to get close to you. Black Dragon nodded and immediately grabbed the two's divine sense in his dragon claws, using dragon might to hide Qin Feiyang's and Frenzy's aura. This action required absolute trust. Because if the Black Dragon harbored malicious intentions, then he only needed to exert some strength to directly crush Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang's divine souls. From this point, it could be seen that Black Dragon sincerely wanted to be brothers with Qin Feiyang. When Black Dragon left the combat arena and appeared in the sky above the assignment hall square, he immediately saw a black crowd surrounding him. The vice leader, the Hall of Famers, the 9 great elders, and the old man in red stood at the front. Next was Yi Tian, Zhao Xiaojin, and the woman in green. Finally, there were the disciples of the Hall of the Famers. It could be said that at this moment, almost all the disciples of the Hall of the Famers had come out. Because many of them had the cultivation of the sovereign realm. He's out. He succeeded. But what about Mo Fengyuan? Seeing Black Dragon appear, a hint of joy appeared in everyone's eyes. However, when they saw that only Black Dragon came out, and Qin Feiyang didn't appear for a long time, their expressions became suspicious again. Especially the vice leader and the others, they stared at the space-time crack with anticipation and anxiety in their eyes. Black Dragon, where's Brother Mo? Zhao Xiaojin couldn't help but step forward and ask. Black Dragon lowered his head and sighed softly. Is he dead? Zhao Xiaojin's gaze trembled. Yi Tian's hands couldn't help but clench tightly. The vice leader and the others were also trembling. A monstrous genius who mastered 7 types of law power died just like that. Chapter 3197. I told you not to let him stay in the arena. You guys just wouldn't listen, especially you old bastard. The vice leader was furious. He glared at the Hall of Famers and roared. If it weren't for the Hall of Famers persuading him, he would definitely forcefully take Qin Feiyang out of the arena. This is fate. The Hall of Famers sighed. He didn't want this to happen, but what could he do? It had already happened. He couldn't change it. However, among these disciples, there were also some who were secretly gloating. These people didn't have any hatred for Qin Feiyang. They were purely jealous. The Black Dragon suddenly laughed and said jokingly, look at how nervous you guys are. I'm just teasing you. He's not dead. I'll bring him back to my cave abode now to reconstruct his body and divine soul. After saying that, the Black Dragon flew toward the heavenly peak. He's not dead. Everyone was stunned. They immediately glared at the black dragon's back. This bastard was actually playing with them. However, it was great that he wasn't dead. Zhao Xiaojin's sorrow turned into joy. He was more and more impressed with Qin Feiyang. The fact that the black dragon could successfully pass the tribulation was definitely related to Qin Feiyang. The tribulation of a perfection stage dominator. How did this guy do it? Old man Yi, are you still going to scold me? The Hall of Famers came back to his senses and glared at the vice leader. The vice leader smiled awkwardly. Only I have a good temper. If it was someone with a bad temper, you can try it. The Hall of Famers snorted coldly and turned to leave. Shameless. The vice leader glared at the Hall of Famers and flew toward the heavenly peak. The Grand Elder also followed. As for the other Grand Elders, they looked at each other and left. Yi Tian also flew toward the heavenly peak with Zhao Xiaojin and the green-clothed woman. As for the other disciples, they either went to the heavenly peak to join in the fun or left in 2s and 3s. However, without exception, they were all discussing the same topic. How did the Black Dragon successfully pass the tribulation? Sky Peak. Big Brother Black Dragon, I'm going to go into seclusion in the divine spatial item. Help me guard the cave. Before I come out, don't let anyone in. Inside the cave. Qin Feiyang looked at Black Dragon and said. Don't worry and go. The Black Dragon turned into a meter long and waved its dragon claws. Thank you. Qin Feiyang thanked him and brought the madman into the Black Tortoise world. Black Dragon glanced at the cave and pursed his lips. Is this the cave of a Hall of the Exalted Disciple? It can't even compare to my cave in the mountains. It's too shabby. After saying that, he turned around and blocked the entrance of the cave residence. It was as if one man could hold back 10,000 men. Just nice. The Vice Alliance leader, First Elder, Yi Tian, and the other disciples who came to join in the fun arrived outside the cave. What are you doing? What are you doing? Black Dragon raised his eyebrows when he saw the Vice Alliance leader rushing towards the cave residence. The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. He frowned and asked, What are you doing? I was the one who asked you first. Black Dragon angrily said. Others might be afraid of the Vice Alliance leader, but it wasn't. After all, it was also a perfected dominator and was now a divine beast. Mo Yuanchu is my disciple. Can't I see him? The Vice Alliance leader raised his eyebrows. You can. But not now. Black Dragon shook his head. Why? The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. Black Dragon said indifferently, because he is rebuilding his physical body in divine body. I don't want anyone to disturb him. I am his master. The Vice Alliance leader roared. I know. You don't have to remind me again. Black Dragon said. Then why aren't you moving aside? The Vice Alliance leader's face darkened. Who was he to be so arrogant in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance? No means no. Although you are his master, I am also his big brother, so I must ensure his safety. Black Dragon said proudly. Big brother? The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. Yes, I just acknowledged him. Black Dragon nodded. The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. His disciple was quite amazing. In such a short time, he actually called this divine beast brother. The Vice Alliance leader said helplessly, You can't be thinking that I will take the opportunity to hurt him, right? That's none of my business. Anyway, you can't go in now. Black Dragon shook his head. Let me tell you, this is the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The Vice Alliance leader suppressed his temper and said in a deep voice. Black Dragon was completely unmoved. He said indifferently, Are you done? If you are, please go back. You, the Vice Alliance leader was furious. To see his disciple, he had to get someone else's permission. What kind of world was this? Old Yi, forget it. He is doing this for your disciples' sake. The great elder chuckled. The Vice Alliance leader rolled his eyes. He looked at Black Dragon and said, then, has my disciple comprehended the fifth profound? After he rebuilds his divine body and divine soul, I will tell you personally. Black Dragon said. The Vice Alliance leader was furious. All right. Let's go. Anyway, we just need to know that he is fine. The great elder hurriedly comforted and dragged the Vice Alliance leader back. No, what are you talking about? I'm his master, right? He's my disciple, right? Why do we need this fellow's permission to meet? The Vice Alliance leader could not accept it. Think of it this way. He is protecting Mo Yuan, which can be considered as saving you a lot of trouble. After all, Mo Yuan has offended many people in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. What if someone dares to take advantage of his weakness to plot against him? Besides, this black dragon has already transformed into a divine beast. Its strength is much stronger than before. Even us elders might not be its match. If it can stay in our Rogue Cultivator Alliance, wouldn't it be a great help to us? The great elder chuckled. Help? The Vice Alliance leader was stunned. Yes. If it wasn't for Mo Yuan, we wouldn't have been able to keep it. But it is different now. It is brothers with Mo Yuan. When the time comes, as long as Mo Yuan says the word, it might stay in our Rogue Cultivator Alliance. In that case, our Rogue Cultivator Alliance can be considered as having a divine beast overseeing it. For us, as long as it is beneficial, there will be no harm. The great elder smiled. That makes sense. All right then. I will be magnanimous and not argue with it. The Vice Alliance leader smiled. He felt much better now. Outside the cave. Zhao Xiaojin looked at the black dragon and said, Senior, can't we go in and see him? Are you his wife? The black dragon sized Zhao Xiaojin up and asked suddenly. Zhao Xiaojin was stunned. If you are, then you can. But if you are not, then get lost. Do you know him that well? The black dragon turned hostile just like that. It had no choice. In the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, it only recognized Qin Feiyang. As for the others, even Yi Tian, it did not care about them. Zhao Xiaojin could not help but feel a trace of anger when she heard that. However, there was nothing she could do. A divine beast at the peak imperishable stage was not something she could offend. If you don't want to go in, then so be it. Xiaojin, let's go back. The green-clothed woman glared at the black dragon and pulled Zhao Xiaojin back to the second cave. Yi Tian shook his head and smiled bitterly before returning to the first cave. As for the other disciples, they did not dare to go forward. They all hid in the distance and whispered. Old Black, you've succeeded. Soon. The Fire One ran to the sky peak with a group of beasts and looked at the black dragon excitedly. Isn't it right in front of you? The black dragon smiled proudly. Where is Mo Yuanchuan now? We came together. Now that you've succeeded, don't forget us. The Fire One said with a flattering expression. This. I really can't make the decision. How about this? When my little brother comes out of seclusion, I'll ask him. The black dragon said. Thank you, thank you. The Fire One and the other beasts were very grateful. I say, old fire. Let's not talk about them. Your Fire One body is also considered a divine beast. Is there a need to be so anxious? The black dragon pulled the Fire One to the side and frowned. Can it be as awe-inspiring as a phoenix? The Fire One said. Seems like it. The black dragon nodded and laughed. Don't worry. I don't want to help those guys, but I'll definitely help you. Thank you, brother. The fire wand was touched. No need, no need. We're all family. The black dragon waved his claws with a cunning look. One look and one could tell that he was up to no good. In the blink of an eye. Half a year had passed. It had been more than 100,000 years in the Black Tortoise world. On this day, Qin Feiyang finally walked out of the ancient castle. Not only did his physical body and divine soul reconstruct, but his cultivation had also successfully stepped into the half-step sovereign realm. Moreover, it was just as the two ancestors had said. After comprehending the fifth profundity of the law of lightning, all aspects of his body had improved. It was much easier for him to comprehend the other laws. Boom! Not long after he walked out of the ancient castle, frost suddenly appeared in the east of the Devil's Land. In just an instant, the sky began to freeze. The entire Devil's Land seemed to have fallen into a cold winter. This is... Qin Feiyang looked up with a trace of surprise in his eyes. This is the law of ice. The madman walked out. His cultivation had also been suppressed to the half-step sovereign realm. Law of ice. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yes. It should be that white jade Qilin guy. The madman said. White jade Qilin. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He patted his head and said, if you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Did it agree to follow you? This white jade Qilin was something they encountered in the trial ground. The madman was quite interested in this divine beast. No. This guy is very arrogant and looks down on me. But there's no rush. Anyway, there's still a long time. The madman waved his hand. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. The thing I asked you to plan last time, how's it going? The madman asked. What is it? Qin Feiyang didn't react for a moment. The madman said, it's to find someone to spar with and reveal my law of ice so that the big shots of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance will take the initiative to accept me as a disciple. That. I'm sorry, I forgot about it. Qin Feiyang laughed dryly. I knew it. I have no interest in those big shots. I just want to take the opportunity to get some legendary rank heaven-defying treasures. Hurry up and arrange it. The madman urged. Okay, I'll go out and plan it later. Qin Feiyang nodded. Chapter 3198. You've all recovered. At this moment, Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang walked over with a gratified smile on their faces. You actually still have the mood to come out for a stroll? Don't you feel the pressure? Madman looked at the two of them playfully. Pressure. The two of them were taken aback. Yes. Thinking back to when I was still in the Divine Land, you had already stepped into the imperishable realm. And now, not only me, but even Qin Feiyang has caught up to you. Shouldn't there be pressure? Madman smiled playfully. Don't be so proud. You're just lucky to follow Feiyang and enjoy the benefits of the time array here. Lu Xingyang pursed his lips. It's undeniable that my talent is definitely better than yours. Madman smiled proudly. Okay. Lu Xingyang nodded and looked at Qin Feiyang. Feiyang, there's something we want to discuss with you. What is it? Qin Feiyang was taken aback and looked at the two of them suspiciously. We want to take a walk outside. Lu Xingyang said. Just go, who dares to stop you? Qin Feiyang said. You don't understand what I mean. I'm not talking about the Black Tortoise realm. We've already finished exploring the Black Tortoise realm. We want to go outside to the Sky Cloud realm. Lu Xingyang smiled slightly. What? Go outside to the Sky Cloud realm? Why? Isn't it good here? Qin Feiyang frowned. Of course it's good here. We don't lack anything, but it's because of this that we want to go out. Because all these years, we've been staying in the Black Tortoise realm and we feel that our fighting spirit is almost gone. But the most important thing is that old Qin, Lu Xingyang glanced at Qin Batian and smiled. He wants to try to find the mystery of his origin. I've been paying attention to this. It's not worth it for you to take the risk. Qin Feiyang didn't want to agree. It wasn't easy for them to be reunited. If they were to be separated now, who knew when they would be able to reunite again? In any case, he couldn't bear to do it. You have your own things to do. We can't always rely on you. Besides, we're not old yet. We don't need you to protect us. As long as you can take care of yourself, we'll be satisfied. Actually, we've had this thought for a long time. It's just that the Black Tortoise realm is not strong enough, so we've been delaying it. But now, you and Madman have both stepped into the half-step ruler realm. You won't have any problems protecting yourselves. We can leave without worry. Qin Batian smiled. Are you too serious? Madman looked at the two and couldn't help but frown. When do you think we should make a joke? Lu Xingyang smiled helplessly. I don't care if you're joking or not, I don't agree. Qin Feiyang shook his head. You brat, if we insist on leaving, do you think you can stop us? Lu Xingyang shook his head and smiled. Qin Feiyang fell silent. Indeed, he couldn't stop them because Qin Batian controlled the space-time law. If the ancient castle didn't help, they could leave the Black Tortoise realm at any time. Since they've decided, there's no need to force them to stay. Old Qin, why don't we help them? After all, they're right. We still have a lot of things to do. We can't take care of everything. Madman looked at Qin Feiyang and said. No, it's too sudden. I'm not prepared at all. If you want to leave, you should have said so earlier. Qin Feiyang looked at the two with dissatisfaction. It's not like we're parting forever. Is there a need? Qin Batian smiled and said, we can understand your feelings. Don't worry, we'll live well. Moreover, I have a premonition that in the Sky Cloud realm, we'll definitely be able to solve the mystery of my identity. Since that's the case, Qin Feiyang frowned and said, all right, you two be careful. If you encounter any danger, remember to send me a message. Okay. The two nodded. What about great-grandmother and Xia Yuan? Qin Feiyang asked. Xia Yuan and the others will definitely stay in the Black Tortoise realm to help you. As for great-grandmother and Rushuang, they definitely won't follow us. You have to take good care of them. Qin Batian smiled. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. Then take the Blood Demon Tower with you. Although it's only a peak heaven-defying divine artifact, there's a one-day 500-year time array inside. Otherwise, when you go out, your cultivation will be too slow and you'll drag us down. Madman said. You're willing. Qin Batian and Rushuang were stunned. Of course, I'm not willing. But there's no other way. Who told me to meet you two fellows? But you have to promise me that you'll protect the Blood Demon Tower. Madman said. Since he had the time array of the Black Tortoise realm and he couldn't use the Blood Demon Tower, he might as well give it to Qin Batian and Rushuang. Thank you very much. Qin Batian and Rushuang looked at each other and cupped their hands with a smile. All right, let's skip the pleasantries. I wish you success in solving the mystery of your background. Madman waved his hand. In fact, he could understand Qin Batian's feelings the most. Because he had been searching for the mystery of his background. He didn't know where he came from, nor did he know if he had parents, siblings, or clansmen in this world. That was a kind of torture in disguise. Therefore, Madman was still very supportive of Qin Batian. All right, you two prepare and bring enough resources. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he left the Black Tortoise realm. The Azure Wave Snow Mountain had a barrier set up by the Alliance Master. Qin Batian couldn't activate the space-time law at all, so he had to leave the barrier first before the two ancestors could leave. It was just that it was too sudden. In his heart, he really couldn't bear to leave. "Brother, you're out." Black Dragon sensed Qin Feiyang's aura and hurriedly turned around and rushed into the cave. "Yes. It's been hard on you, Brother Black Dragon." Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. "It's just guarding you, what's so hard about it?" Black Dragon waved his claws and then said worriedly, "But you've rebuilt your body and soul so quickly. If you go out now and are seen by others, I'm afraid your space-time formation will be exposed." "That's true." Qin Feiyang was stunned. Only half a year had passed outside. In half a year's time, even with a peerless divine pill, it was impossible to rebuild the body and soul so quickly. It seemed that he had to think of a way to sneak out without anyone knowing. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang had an idea. Qin Feiyang looked around and asked, "Brother Black Dragon, where's the Fire One?" "It went back to the mountain range." "What's wrong?" Black Dragon was suspicious. "I have an idea. Let it come over and guard the cave. Just like before, no one is allowed to enter. And I'll follow you and sneak out quietly." Qin Feiyang said. "Good idea." Black Dragon's eyes lit up, and his body suddenly expanded. In an instant, a divine dragon of thousands of feet appeared. Then, he opened one of his dragon claws and said with a sly smile, "Same old rules, hide in my palm." "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded, jumped up, and landed in Black Dragon's palm. Originally, he wanted to use the concealment technique, but now it seemed that there was no need. Black Dragon clenched his claws slightly. After hiding Qin Feiyang, he shouted, "Old friend, come here." Chirp. Accompanied by a sharp cry, the fire wand flew over like lightning. "Old friend, I have something to do and have to go out. You'll guard Brother Mo here for me. Remember, before Brother Mo comes out, no one is allowed to enter. Also, you're not allowed to enter the cave and disturb him. If you provoke him and he doesn't help you transform, then don't blame me for not helping you." Black Dragon warned. "I won't. Don't worry." The Fire Wand laughed. "Okay." Black Dragon nodded and turned into a stream of light, breaking through the sky like lightning. The Fire Wand looked back at the cave with a trace of suspicion in its eyes. There was no aura at all. Was there anyone inside? It should be in a spatial divine object. With this thought, it lay at the entrance of the cave and scanned the surroundings with full attention, unaware that there was no one in the cave. Above the glacier, Black Dragon was as fast as lightning. Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously, "Brother Black Dragon, why does this Fire One seem to want to curry favor with you?" "It's not trying to curry favor with me. It wants to curry favor with you through me." Black Dragon chuckled. "Curry favor with me?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Yes, didn't you help me transform successfully? That's why it's envious, because it wants to transform into a phoenix." Black Dragon said. "So that's the case. However, to be honest, I don't have a way to transform into a phoenix. Because I don't have the divine body of a phoenix, not even a bit of blood essence." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "That's not important. What's important is that it believes you can do it. In this way, we can use this point to make it our own." Black Dragon laughed. "Ah." Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Do you think I'm a little cunning?" Black Dragon asked. "A little." Qin Feiyang smiled. "I'm doing this for you. There are so many strong people in the Eastern continent. I'm afraid I can't protect you alone. That's why I have to find help. This Fire One used to live in the same place as me. I know its strength like the back of my hand. It can be said that even the elders of the Rogue Cultivators Alliance can't kill it. With its help, you'll undoubtedly be safer in the future." Black Dragon said. "I see." Thank you, Brother Black Dragon. Qin Feiyang was touched. We're brothers. What are you thanking me for? Black Dragon shook his head. The speed of a great perfection sovereign was naturally not something Qin Feiyang could compare to. In just a few dozen breaths, they arrived at the border of the Kanglan Snow Mountain. Isn't this Black Dragon? Second Sheng was slightly taken aback. Hey. I'm going out for a while. Open the barrier. Black Dragon stared at Second Sheng without any respect. Instead, Second Sheng looked at Black Dragon with a hint of fear in his eyes. Second Sheng was only a great perfection sovereign while Black Dragon was a great perfection sovereign. Moreover, it was a divine beast. Killing Second Sheng could only be described in one sentence, easy as pie. Why are you going out? Second Sheng was suspicious. He knew what the Deputy Alliance Master was thinking. What if this guy ran out and didn't come back? He didn't notice Qin Feiyang who was hiding in the dragon's claws. Chapter 3199. Do I have to report to you what I'm going to do? Black Dragon raised his eyebrows, looking extremely displeased. This, second interrogation officer was a little terrified. Hurry up, or don't blame me for being rude. Black Dragon roared. Second interrogation officer sighed inwardly and could only take out the token to open the barrier. Black Dragon left the barrier without looking back. But as Black Dragon left, second interrogation officer immediately took out the voice transmission stone. Buzz. The shadow of the deputy leader appeared quickly. What? It left the Alliance capital. Hearing second interrogation officer's report, the deputy leader immediately frowned. Yes. It left alone. Second interrogation officer nodded. Did it say where it was going? Deputy leader asked. No. I didn't dare to stop it. Second interrogation officer shook his head. The deputy leader pondered for a while and waved his hand. You don't have to worry too much about this. As long as its relationship with Mo Yuanchuan doesn't change, it won't really leave. That's true. Second interrogation officer nodded. Outside. Heavy snow was falling and the cold wind was bone-chilling. Mount Kanglan was huge and the Alliance capital was located in the center of it. So even if it left the barrier, it was still in Mount Kanglan. Above a canyon. Qin Feiyang looked at Black Dragon and smiled. Brother Black Dragon, wait for me here. Don't you need me to go with you? Black Dragon was stunned. No need. Qin Feiyang shook his head and left alone, disappearing at the end of the snow mountain. So mysterious. Black Dragon muttered. But he didn't think too much about it. Back to Qin Feiyang. He did want to hide it from Black Dragon. Because Qin Batian had appeared in Wind Sea City before. So if he was recognized, it might be a big problem. Although Black Dragon treated him as a brother now, but what if his identity was exposed? One had to know. His true identity couldn't be taken as a joke. If Black Dragon were to accidentally spill the beans, it would be a disaster for him. So, for safety reasons, it was better not to let Black Dragon know for now. After all, they had just met. As for the future, when he could trust Black Dragon, he would naturally take the initiative to confess. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, Qin Batian and Lu Xingyang appeared. This is the Kanglan Snow Mountain. The two of them looked around. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked, Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Since I've already decided, what's there to consider? Whether it's doing something or being a person, one cannot be half-hearted. Child, take care of yourself. Also, if there's a need, we can join forces with the Demon Palace. Qin Batian said. I know what to do. Qin Feiyang nodded. Alright, we'll meet again. Qin Batian smiled and turned to leave with Lu Xingyan. Did you bring the Blood Demon Tower? Qin Feiyang asked hurriedly. Yes. The two of them smiled without even turning their heads. Then, they disappeared from Qin Feiyang's sight like lightning. Take care. Qin Feiyang looked at the void and muttered to himself. Ever since he reunited with his two ancestors, he never thought that they would be separated again. And it was so sudden. In his heart, he couldn't help but feel melancholy. Sigh. After a long time, Qin Feiyang sighed and turned to fly over the canyon. You don't look right. Did something happen? Black Dragon looked at him suspiciously. No. Qin Feiyang waved his hand with a smile and asked, Brother Black Dragon, where did you live before? Black Cloud Swamp. Black Dragon said. Black Cloud Swamp. Qin Feiyang was stunned. You may not know Black Cloud Swamp, but you should have heard of the Yin Demon Land. Black Dragon smiled. The Yin Demon Land. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Wasn't that the border between the eastern and southern continents that Zhuo Tianxing mentioned? That was a recognized forbidden area of the two continents. The Black Cloud Swamp you mentioned, is it in the Yin Demon Land? Qin Feiyang was surprised. That's not it. The Black Cloud Swamp is outside the Yin Demon Land, and people from the eastern continent have to pass through the Black Cloud Swamp to go to the Yin Demon Land. Black Dragon explained. So it's like that. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. He was really shocked and then said, then how much do you know about the Yin Demon Land? If it's the outer area, I definitely know a little, but if it's the border area, the central area, the inner area, and the core area, I'm not sure. Because I haven't gone deep into the Yin Demon Land. Black Dragon shook his head. There are so many areas. Qin Feiyang was surprised. Of course. Because the Yin Demon Land is too big, it's divided into 5 areas. They are, the outer area, the border, the central area, the inner area, and the core. Black Dragon said. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization. The so-called outer area meant that one hadn't entered the Yin Demon Land. As for the border area, it was the very edge of the Yin Demon Land. Once one stepped into the border area, it was equivalent to officially entering the Yin Demon Land. Needless to say, the core area was the center of the Yin Demon Land. Qin Feiyang asked, since the Black Cloud Swamp is the only way, then around 10,000 years ago, did you see a man and a woman? A man and a woman? Black Dragon was stunned and asked, what did they look like? What did they look like? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He really didn't know what the 10th elder's son and daughter-in-law looked like. If you don't know what they look like, I really don't know how to tell you. Because every year, many people enter the border area to explore. Black Dragon laughed bitterly. So it's like that. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and took out the sound transmission god stone. Buzz. Very quickly. A figure appeared. It was Zhuo Tianxing. Zhuo Tianxing was about to call out Qin Feiyang's name, but he suddenly saw a black dragon beside him and immediately changed his words. Cloud Sea City Lord Zhuo Tianxing greets young Master Mo, what do the 10th elder's son and daughter-in-law look like? Qin Feiyang asked. Them. Zhuo Tianxing waved his hand, and the figures of a man and a woman appeared. Both of them looked middle-aged. The man was about 1.8 meters tall, and his body was quite thin. The most eye-catching thing was that he wore a black eye patch over his left eye. As for the woman, her appearance and temperament were not bad. They are. Zhuo Tianxing said. Brother Black Dragon, have you seen them? Qin Feiyang pointed at the two and asked Black Dragon. Black Dragon sized them up for a while, then lowered his head and pondered. 10,000 years ago, a man and a woman, and it was a one-eyed man, suddenly. Black Dragon's eyes lit up, and he nodded, yes, I have a special impression of this one-eyed man. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. This person's temper is very bad, and his methods are not bad. Back then, when he passed through Black Cloud Swamp, he killed some of my underlings. I even gave the order to chase after him, so I have a deep impression of him. Black Dragon said. Then they really entered the Yin Devil Land? Qin Feiyang asked. That's right. I saw them enter the Yin Devil Land. Because the Yin Devil Land is too dangerous, I didn't chase after them at that time. Black Dragon said. Entering the Yin Devil Land, one will either obtain a great fortune or die inside. And now, 10,000 years have passed, and they still haven't appeared. They are probably dead inside. Chua Tianxing analyzed. If they really died inside, then I don't have to do anything. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, looked at Chua Tianxing, and said, then let's leave it at that for now. Chua Tianxing nodded and turned off the voice transmission crystal. Qin Feiyang also lowered his head and pondered. There was no need to consider the 10th elder's son and daughter-in-law for now. And now, he had stepped into the half-step sovereign realm. Then, there were only two things left. The first was to find an opportunity to let Madman show off his strength in the Alliance capital. The second was to investigate whether the Alliance leader of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was in cahoots with the vice leader. However, until now, he had never seen this Alliance leader. How should I investigate? Qin Feiyang gradually furrowed his brows. After thinking for a long time, he really couldn't think of any good ideas. However, he had already thought of a way to deal with Madman. Forget it. Anyway, my current strength isn't enough to deal with the Blood Hall. I'll just peacefully stay in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and cultivate. Qin Feiyang secretly muttered and called Madman out. Madman had already turned into Mo Wuhui's appearance. Black Dragon looked at Madman in surprise. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a handsome guy before? Madman stared at him. Handsome guy. Black Dragon's mouth twitched and said, you have also stepped into the half-step sovereign realm. Then, your lightning law has also comprehended the fifth profound. Of course. Madman smiled proudly. Big brother Black Dragon, let me introduce you. This is Mo Wuhui, cough cough, he is my older brother. Qin Feiyang said unnaturally. Brother? Black Dragon asked. Then what? Madman glared at him. Ha, Black Dragon laughed dryly. I thought of a way. You, Qin Feiyang muttered in Madman's ear. Okay. Madman nodded and laughed. Qin Feiyang looked at Black Dragon and said, Big brother Black Dragon, later on, you have to cooperate and say that you came out to pick up my big brother. No problem. Your big brother is also my big brother, that's not right. Why is he my big brother? Your big brother is also my brother. Everything can be discussed. Black Dragon looked at Qin Feiyang and said. Qin Feiyang smiled and once again hid in Black Dragon's claws. Madman didn't hide and directly followed Black Dragon back to the Alliance capital. You're back. Seeing Black Dragon return so quickly, Interrogation Officer 2 couldn't help but be stunned. And immediately after, he noticed Madman beside him. This person seems to be, Interrogation Officer 2 was surprised. He didn't know much about Madman Mo Wuhui's identity. He only heard that Mo Wuyuan had such a big brother. And the most sensational thing was when he taught Feng Wanyun a lesson in the East City. But after that, this person disappeared without a trace. And later on, Qin Feiyang showed his ability, so much so that everyone almost forgot about this person. Interrogation Officer 2. Madman entered the barrier and sized up Interrogation Officer 2. Yes. You're Mo Wuyuan's big brother, Mo Wuhui. Interrogation Officer 2 asked. That's right. I heard that my brother is doing well in the Alliance capital, so I came back to benefit from it. Madman chuckled. Interrogation Officer 2 smiled bitterly. Not only was he doing well, who wouldn't be respectful when the name Mo Yun was mentioned? He asked, so you're saying that Black Dragon went out specifically to pick you up? You can say that. Madman grinned. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.